Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 12 o'clock, I'm Austin Eller. This news brought to you by Jim Ellis Automotive. Our top local story, hundreds of CDC workers issue a letter to Congress after the recent shooting outside the Atlanta-based agency. WSB's Jonathan O'Brien reports live the workers are concerned for their well-being.
Yeah, Austin, that letter signed by more than 300 workers follows this month's shooting at CDC headquarters in Atlanta, which left a DeKalb police officer dead. The workers say the attack came amid growing mistrust in public institutions driven by politicized rhetoric. The letter calls on HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to take several steps, including, quote, stop spreading inaccurate health information. The workers say they also want him to guarantee their safety. Now, employees at the CDC campus have been allowed to work remotely for a second week following that August 8th shooting. Reporting live, Jonathan O'Brien, 95.5 WSB.
Thank you, Jonathan. It is 82 degrees right now in Midtown Atlanta. Cloudy across the metro today. Some scattered showers on their way this afternoon as well. WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards will have Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast coming up at 12:05. Military experts are asking new questions about proposed security guarantees that would come with a Ukrainian peace plan.
Retired General Richard Barons, who served in Bosnia and Afghanistan, says any peacekeeping force must be prepared to enforce that peace.
The guarantee cannot include the decision that if the shooting starts again, that you simply leave. That's utterly worthless.
Vicky Barker reports Barron says a European peacekeeping force would only work if America had its back. The Israeli military announces plans to call up tens of thousands of reservists for an expanded operation in Gaza City. That plan includes the use of about 60,000 reserve members and extension of service for 20,000 more as well. The operation's reportedly aimed at targeting Hamas's underground tunnel network. Meanwhile, negotiations over a possible ceasefire continue. Hamas has agreed to the terms, but Israel has yet to respond. The S&P reaffirms its credit rating for the U.S.
S&P is keeping the rating at AA+, saying the revenue raised by President Trump's tariffs will help offset the tax cuts in the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. The government collected $30 billion from tariffs in July, a 242% jump from a year earlier.
Michael Wallace reports Moody's downgraded the U.S.'s rating earlier this year, citing the nation's growing debt and uncertainty sparked by trade policies. The bulk of the East Coast is dealing with rip currents, closed beaches, and dangerous waves as Hurricane Erin inches north in the Atlantic. National Hurricane Center Director Michael Brennan says it won't hit the mainland U.S.
The storm right now centered about 365 miles south-southeast of Cape Hatteras now has turned northward and moving northward at 13 miles per hour. Data from the Hurricane Hunter shows that Erin has begun to re-strengthen a little bit this morning. Maximum sustained winds up to about 110 miles per hour.
Meanwhile, North Carolina has declared a state of emergency. Some residents along North Carolina's coast have been urged to evacuate. A former Georgia Police Academy Division director pleads guilty to molesting a child. Samuel Ray Ham enters the guilty pleas in Walton County on 4 counts of child molestation, 3 counts of sexual battery, and 1 count of grooming a minor for a sexual offense. He's sentenced to 20 years in prison without parole, followed by life on probation. Ham was accused of touching a girl who was under the age of 16 in an inappropriate and sexual manner. Well, the Gwinnett County Sheriff's Office is incorporating a specialized canine to combat human trafficking and child exploitation.
Dee is a black Labrador with the title Electronic Storage Detection Canine. The Gwinnett County Sheriff's Office says Dee can detect storage devices that may contain child sexual abuse materials. Assistant Chief Austin Godfrey says the canine will help protect the most vulnerable populations with a focus on crimes against children. Her work extends beyond Gwinnett's Trafficking and Child Exploitation Unit, providing crucial support in criminal investigations throughout the metro Atlanta area. Cheryl Castro, 95.5 WSB.
Public comment is extended at today's Fulton County Commission meeting, where lawmakers will vote whether to pursue a $1 billion plan to renovate the dangerous county jail after building a special purpose facility for mental and medical health. Former jailer LaQuandria Pierce says new management is needed too.
Imagine being a female officer managing a floor with 200 inmates by yourself. That was our reality.
The plan is about half the cost of building a new jail. The CEO of Target announces he's stepping down amid 3 straight quarters of slumping sales. Brian Cornell will leave the retailer early next year after 11 years at the helm. He'll be replaced by the company's current COO. Target has seen strong competition from retailers like Amazon and Walmart, and they've also been subject to recent backlash after pulling back on diversity and inclusion policies. It is 12:04. Time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams is in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Hey, good afternoon, Austin. Not good in the heart of downtown. All lanes shut down. I-20 eastbound right at the downtown connector. I-75, 85, that's exit 57. They've been clearing debris out of the roadway. It's taken longer than I expected, so sounding the red alert for that. Go ahead, think about using Memorial Drive or Martin Luther King Jr. Drive as your alternates. Luckily, not impacting 75, 85 either north or southbound trying to ramp onto I-20. Those ramps are still open as of right now. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Now it's time for Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast, sponsored by Shoemate, the official air conditioning of Atlanta. Here's WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards.
Partly to mostly cloudy this afternoon, high 89. Tracking some of the heavier rain showers and thunderstorms to move through the metro region, likely between 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. this evening. As much as 2 to 3 inches of rainfall possible with some of these slower moving storms, so areas of isolated flash flooding a possibility through tonight. Lows in the low 70s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with scattered pop-up storms, high 90. Cloudy skies for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, limiting the daytime highs to the low to mid 80s. Widespread rain showers will continue through the weekend.
Right now it's 84 in Kennesaw, 82 in Norcross, also 82 in Midtown. More news at 12:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
Well, y'all, I am a professional, but I've apparently forgotten how to work a microphone today, let alone bring it in front of my face to talk to y'all. It was one of those days. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. Well, let's begin again. Yes. Well. The Democratic Party. Remember, their rise is inevitable. We've been told this. It's one of the research projects I did. I think it's got to be like my senior year in college, not law school. The demography is destiny phrase relating to the Republican Party began in 1972. Richard Nixon won the White House in 1972. Re-election. Progressives were actually surprised that Richard Nixon won a re-election. Now, they'll say it was Watergate and all that stuff. You know, the deep irony of Watergate and what Nixon allowed to be done, the stealing of the campaign plans in the Watergate office, the Democratic Party and all that, was that he didn't need it. The Democrats had gone, they'd swung hard left. They were anti-crime. The Democratic Party of 1972 was about where the Democratic Party of today has gotten back to. And it was a blowout election for Richard Nixon. He won. He never needed to do the Watergate scandal. He never needed to figure out what the Democrats were going to do. He never needed to engage in the dirty tactics he engaged in. He was going to win because the American people were rejecting the Democrats. They had in 69. The Democrats doubled down in 72, and Nixon won. But the progressives who didn't know, remember the New York Times woman who said she didn't know a single person who had voted for Nixon? They doubled down, and they began in 1972 to console themselves with a mythology. The mythology was that the Democrats are inevitable. Very Borg-like, resistance is futile. Because the nation, by 1972, is very clear, and it became more and more clear into the 80s and 90s, the nation was browning. White people, demographically, were not going to stay the majority of the country. White people in the country, their voting share was over time going to decline. In 1976, when Gerald Ford loses to Jimmy Carter, it was inevitable. It was proof. Ronald Reagan was just an anomaly. And, you know, the Democratic Party has every time, and we can go through them, and we should right now. Jimmy Carter was proof of the Republican decline. Ronald Reagan was an anomaly. Ronald Reagan was an anomaly based on the economic crisis of the 1970s, and then George H.W. Bush was a continuation of Reagan. And then when he lost, it was the ascendancy of the boomers and Bill Clinton, and decline of the Republican Party was, as predicted, going to happen with Al Gore's election in 2000. George W. Bush actually won, but he lost the popular vote. It was proof that actually the Democrats were on the rise. 2004 was a war machine anomaly, and it was stolen from the Democrats Democrats and John Kerry, and it was Ken Blackwell in Ohio who was to blame. And then Barack Obama was, of course, proof that the Democrats were inevitable and the Democrats were a permanent political majority, just like in California. And Donald Trump was the Russian stealing the election, and Joe Biden was a reversion to the mean. And oh my God, what happened in 2024? It turns out that Democratic ascendancy was always mythology. The Republican decline because of demography was always a mythology. The decline based on demographics is not real because over time, parties go through realignments. If you know anything about the history of the United States, our parties go through realignments every 80 to 100 years, and we are in a realignment period in this country. It's awkward for people. I mean, just look at me for example. Let me just use me as the example. I am a Christian evangelical conservative. I can't tell you the number of people who now think I'm a moderate or liberal. I haven't changed my positions. It's just that the party has moved towards Donald Trump, who's a populist. But a lot of people who called themselves conservatives have now moved into this populist camp, and they're like, you're not a conservative anymore. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? I haven't changed a single position. You people are now embracing like takeover of companies and all sorts of crazy economic theories on tariffs and stuff that no conservative would do. You're a populist. You just haven't recognized your label has changed. Mine hasn't. And I was like, where do I belong in the system? I'm still a Republican. I was an elected Republican. I supported Trump. I don't always agree with him on a number of issues, but I still prefer his policies to the other side. But oftentimes I feel politically homeless. The Democrats have, with the media, with the Academy, with Hollywood, they have provided a bubble for the Democratic Party to be in, feel safe in, and never have to be confronted with the drifting of their ideas. They can turn on MSNBC or even CNN. They can read the New York Times or USA Today. They can watch their favorite TV shows, and they never have to see an incursion of contrary cultural values. And so they do not know that they are a party in decline. What was that movie? M. Night Shyamalan. No, not the famous one. Not Seeing Dead People. The Village. Yes. So M. Night Shyamalan has he doesn't have a lot of good movies. It's like I feel bad for the guy. M. Night Shyamalan was the guy who wrote The Sixth Sense. Bruce Willis and the kid sees dead people, and spoiler alert, Bruce Willis is dead the whole time. I know, you're shocked and angry. I gave you a spoiler for a 20-year-old movie. You weren't going to watch it anyway. Go back and watch it. M. Night Shyamalan, he had a lot of movies after that. That's his most famous, and it was all kind of downhill, but he had one that was actually pretty good called The Village. And it is essentially a Revolutionary War America. These people live in this agrarian society, and there are monsters in the woods. And so the society stays together in this agrarian society. They know there are other people in the area or other communities, but they got to stay there. And every once in a while, kids decide they want to leave and go in search of other people, and the monsters get them, or they come back because of the monsters. And it actually turns out that they're living in the 20th century, and they're in a park-like setting, in a preserve, and all the children are being raised by the adults to believe that they live in this pre-industrial agrarian society because the parents wanted to be done with civilization. They thought civilization was bad. And so a very wealthy person sets aside this land, and it's guarded by people, and it's a no-fly zone, so planes and helicopters never even fly over into the airspace. So the kids have no idea, but they're there, and it's the big reveal, the aha moment at the end. The monsters are actually the parents, and people who are kidnap the kids and do terrible things to keep the facade from being broken down. That is exactly The Village. The M. Night Shyamalan's The Village is the Democratic Party. The Democrats are in this commune, and there's an entire media apparatus, academic apparatus, and cultural apparatus designed so that no one can pierce the Democrat bubble, so that the Democrats never have to know they're in decline. It is, you go to CNN, you go to MSNBC, you go to the New York Times, the Washington Post, USA Today, it's all liberals writing for liberals, talking to liberals, persuading liberals their worldview is correct. You would think CNN in particular, a network that claims to be really the fair and balanced network, would actually have more voices than Scott Jennings and actually might have some anchors who reflect the worldview of a Scott Jennings, who recognize the world is more complex and the world does not bend towards progressivism, and yet they don't. So here today comes the New York Times with a big story that it turns out, let me just read you the opening sentence of the piece. The Democratic Party is hemorrhaging voters long before they even go to the polls. The headline is the Democratic Party faces a voter registration crisis. The party is bleeding support beyond the ballot box, new analysis shows. Here's the thing about the South. In 1980, Ronald Reagan started picking up southern states against who? James Earl Carter, favored son of Georgia. Republicans started winning gubernatorial seats in the South. They started picking up state legislative seats in the South. They started picking up congressional seats in the South. In 1994, there was a big flip with Bill Clinton as the catalyst because of his values in the White House, deeply ironic now compared to Donald Trump, where a lot of Southern Democrats decided, you know what, I'm actually a Republican. I'm not one of these crazy liberals. And at the federal level, they started voting Republican, but at the state level, they continued to vote Democrat. It wasn't until George Bush in 2001, after 9/11, that the cultural shock at the federal level transcended to the state level. But here's the thing. Democratic voter registration in the South stayed very strong for a very long time, even after people had started voting Republican. Only then did you start seeing this real collapse of Democratic Party registration. But it was a lagging indicator. It wasn't in the foreground. It was in the background. People had already started voting Republican. They just hadn't changed their voter registration. Well, guess what? Same thing's happening now. Of the 30 states that track voter registration by political party, Democrats lost ground to Republicans in every single one between 2020 and 2024, often by a lot. That 4-year swing toward the Republicans adds up to 4.5 million voters, a deep political hole that could take years for Democrats to climb out of. The stampede away from the Democratic Party is occurring in battleground states, the bluest states, and the reddest states, too, according to a new analysis of voter registration data by the New York Times. The analysis used voter registration data compiled by L2, a nonpartisan data firm. For measurements, few measurements reflect the luster of a political party's brand more clearly than the choice by voters to identify with it. Whether they register on a clipboard, in a supermarket parking lot, at the Department of Motor Vehicles, or in the comfort of their own homes, and fewer Americans are choosing to be Democrats. In fact, for the first time since 2018, more new voters nationwide choose to be Republican than Democrat last year. There are still more Democrats registered nationwide, but that's partly because of blue states like California allowing people to register by party, while red states like Texas do not. But the trajectory is troublesome for Democrats. Democrats went from nearly an 11-point edge over Republicans on Election Day 2020 to just over a 6-point edge in 2024. The swing helps explain President Trump's success last year. The shift also previewed Democratic weakness in 2024. All 4 presidential battlegrounds showed significant Democratic erosion. Donald Trump won them all. In North Carolina, Republicans erased roughly 95% of the registration advantage Democrats held in 2020. In Nevada, Democrats suffered the steepest percentage point plunge of any state but West Virginia between 2020 and 2024. The share of voters choosing to register with either party went down after the state adopted automatic voter registration, but the Democrat decline allowed Republicans to briefly surpass Democrats. Top Democratic strategists say the party's nationwide registration decline is a hidden in plain sight crisis that must be reversed. By the way, you want to know the punchline of all of this? You know what Democrats have been doing in the past? They've been overwhelmingly targeting Black and Hispanic voters for voter registration. The thinking of the Democratic donors now is stop registering non-white people. The Democrats now want to go find college-educated white women to register to vote. They don't want Black people. They don't want Hispanic people. They certainly don't want Asian people either. They're trending Republican as well. The Democrats are giving up on non-white voters. They're trying to become the lily white party. And what did they say starting in 1972? Republicans were the party in decline because they were the party of white people. And now the Democrats, to save themselves, are trying to become the party of white people, particularly white women. It's a massive, massive shift. This is actually kind of funny. There is Aaron Strauss, a data scientist who spent years working to elect Democrats, wrote that the old way of registering voters, working through nonprofits, enrolling young people and people of color in general rather than explicitly seeking Democrats, could backfire. Mr. Strauss argued the left needed to target its new voters more surgically because Mr. Trump's support was growing among traditional Democrat constituencies. Registering voters without regard to their political beliefs remains cost-effective for Democrats only with black voters. With other Democratic groups, explicitly partisan groups ought to make explicit partisan arguments. There's just a problem. They're nonprofits. You're not allowed to. Only those groups expressly affiliated with the Democratic Party are legally allowed to do that, or the Republican Party. Nonprofit groups can't discriminate in voter registration. That's the law, and they've got Donald Trump in the White House that will aggressively enforce that law should the Democrats try otherwise. This is a problem of the Democrats on making. As they've gotten rich, white, and woke, no one wants to be a part of the party.
Have something to say? Hello. Call the show. 1-877-97-ERIC. That's 1-877-973-7425.
1221 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Red alert continues. All lanes shut down. 20 eastbound right at the downtown connector. 7585 exit 57. DOT tells me a dump truck lost a load of gravel, and they are trying to clean it up. That's why all lanes are shut down. Use Martin Luther King Jr. Drive or Memorial Drive as alternates. And we got traffic lights flashing red in Midtown. Northside Drive at 14th. Treat that as a four-way stop. Traffic brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Now at Whole Foods Market, get organic yellow peaches or nectarines for $2.99 per pound with Prime through August 26th while supplies last. Shop in store or online. Terms apply. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It doesn't have to be like this.
You don't have to put up with it.
Shutting down the ramp from 285 East.
You don't have to sit in it.
It takes almost 30 minutes to go 400 South.
And you don't have to look at your phone to get out of it.
It is Atlanta traffic, and getting you out of it is what we do best.
We had a lot going on this morning through Henry County.
Updated traffic as often as you need it from local traffic reporters 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
It's a jackknife tractor trailer.
Triple team traffic.
95.5 WSB.
How Atlanta gets there.
This is Scott Slade, updating my health story. I get a checkup every year, and last September, my primary care physician was troubled by a suspicious number on my lab work. Well, that led to a diagnosis early enough to give me options, and I'm more optimistic than ever about a good outcome. Now, when we're talking about our health, level with your providers if you think you have a problem. We all need expert eyes looking us over every so often. That's where virtual imaging can be invaluable. Virtual Imaging's LDCT body scan can give you time and options for early treatment, especially for cancer. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. For a limited time, Virtual Imaging is extending their core body scan offer for only $995 per scan. That's a $2,495 value. Early detection saves lives, and now it's more affordable than ever. Virtual Imaging has gotten such great response, they've opened up more times in both offices. But appointments will fill up fast for this offer, so don't wait. Some minimum requirements may apply. Early detection is your best protection. To schedule your Virtual Imaging $995 core body scan, call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com. That's virtualimagingatl.com. Do it now, while you still have options.
Welcome to Window Wisdom with North Georgia Replacement Windows. Today, we're talking with the experts about Infinity from Marvin fiberglass windows. Ted Kirk and Jonathan Cullum, owners of North Georgia Replacement Windows.
Jonathan, many people may think a window is a window. Tell us how the Infinity fiberglass window is different.
Well, fiberglass is a thermoset material instead of a thermoplastic like vinyl and most other composite windows. This means other windows will be disfigured by extreme heat and cold, whereas a thermoset fiberglass window will not.
We do experience some extreme climates in Georgia sometimes. What does this mean for homeowners when it comes to windows?
Very simply, other windows lose their energy efficiency over time, but But the Infinity fiberglass windows have a fit that never quits and energy efficiency that lasts. Our windows are the most durable, long-lasting solution available.
Energy efficiency is very important, but what do the windows look like? Will we have to compromise on the looks of the windows?
Not at all. Infinity windows are beautiful, not big and bulky like vinyl windows. Our windows are designed to look like traditional wood windows without the upkeep.
Okay, so the window material is durable and the product looks great. What can a homeowner expect during the installation?
We understand that this may be your one and only window replacement project, so we keep you updated every step of the way. Your detailed installation will be quick, clean, and hassle-free. We also stand behind all of our installations with a lifetime service warranty.
Jonathan and Ted, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, experience, and expertise. And right now at North Georgia Replacement Windows, we are celebrating back to school with huge savings. You'll enjoy 18% off your project, plus up to 18 months no interest, no payment financing. Hurry, these offers end August 31st, 2025. Visit our amazing showroom in Alpharetta and visit us online at ngwindows.com. ngwindows.com.
Infinity from Marvin, replacement windows, yeah!
When your termite bond renewal comes in the mail, do you cringe wondering, how much more are they going to charge me now? Switch to Breda Pest Management and your termite rate is locked in for 10 years. Hey, it's Mark Aram here. If your termite service doesn't inspect inside, how do you know you're protected? With Breda, you get total peace of mind that your home is termite-free inside and out, and your termite rate is locked in for 10 full years.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
You can be live on Eric's show by calling 877-97-ERIC. That's 877-973-7425.
Greetings and welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. Delighted to have you with me. Well, the redistricting war data comes to fruition. This is from, now this comes, keep in mind, on the heels of this story about the Democratic Party's nationwide decline. And now Gavin Newsom claims he's going to redistrict in California. Here's an interesting thing. Gavin Newsom has been sending out massive fundraising appeals about his redistricting fight in California, and he hasn't actually targeted Californians. He's targeting everyone else. He's also online now mimicking Donald Trump in his Twitter style, and the left's like, oh, this is so good. He's forcing them to confront their hypocrisy. That's just kind of dumb. He's had people now, his social media people, putting up pictures of him versus J.D. Vance from when they were in high school. But here's the thing. They stop at high school. Why? Because the next picture is J.D. Vance in a Marine uniform being willing to die for his country, and Gavin Newsom not. Interestingly enough, when you see the pictures of J.D. Vance, who, by the way, he'll be in Atlanta tomorrow. They're not saying where yet. He's going to Peachtree City, Georgia, which is south of the city, the golf cart capital of America. And he's going to highlight somehow the president's tax plan is helping small businesses. But, when they put up these pictures of kind of dweeby J.D. Vance from high school versus handsome Gavin Newsom, if you watched any of the movies from the 80s or 90s, it was the handsome D-bag was always wound up being the villain of the movie. So I'm not sure why they want to highlight that. It was always the goofy-looking guy who wound up being the hero of the movies. Nonetheless, as we get into redistricting, even the Washington Post now is screaming at Democrats, don't do this, don't do this. You're going to lose big if you do this. We've run the data. You're going to lose if you do this, California. And they are. Americans for Prosperity is actually building a massive army of conservative activists to take on this challenge next year and mobilize conservatives to fight for freedom in the country. They'd love to have you on their side. All you have to do is go to afpvolunteer.com. Americans for Prosperity also wants you to take their 250,000 step challenge. You individually don't have to take 250,000 steps, just take one step. And if 250,000 people take a step for freedom in this country, we measurably improve this country. And in time for the country's 250th anniversary next July 4th, it's wild to think we as a nation are 250 years old. And yet there are nations thousands of years old still out there. We're a young nation still. Show the young spirit for freedom. Join Americans for Prosperity. Go to afpvolunteer.com today. afpvolunteer.com. Be engaged in the fight for freedom in the United States with Americans for Prosperity. They're a fantastic group. They will get you involved in the fight for freedom at afpvolunteer.com.
He's the guy at the desk next to you.
So if you can't handle your real face, then don't tell me how to handle my life.
He's your co-pilot for the ride home.
They have a lot more money now because they stopped kneeling.
Eric Von Hessler.
Things are going to get broken.
Eric Von Hessler.
Today at 3.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It's 12:30. I'm Austin Eller. This news brought to you by Jim Ellis Automotive. Our top local story, we have a red alert on I-20 at the downtown connector. Let's get straight to Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Yeah, Austin, I thought this was going to be temporary, but it has lasted much longer than expected. A load of gravel was spilled from a dump truck 20 eastbound right at I-75-85 exit number 57. No traffic is getting through. Already stacked up back toward Lowry Boulevard. So best ways around it, as your alternates, you can use Martin Luther King Jr. Drive or Memorial Drive just north of I-20 to avoid this closure. Austin?
Thank you, Alex. We'll get another update here in just a few minutes. The Cobb County Sheriff's Office says it's on scene at a SWAT situation in a neighborhood not far from Highway 78. Suspects reportedly barricaded inside that home on Vinings Retreat Pass, and deputies say they went to that home to serve the suspect a warrant. That's when they went inside. The suspect went inside and held a family member hostage. That family member has since been released, and the agency says there is no danger to the public at this time. A new study finds kids who eat more of certain foods have a reduced risk of vision problems.
A study in China found that a diet rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which are commonly found in fish oils, led to lower rates of short-sightedness in kids, also known as myopia.
Michael George reports that study finds those who eat a lot of saturated fats are at a higher risk of short-sightedness. We have live team coverage of traffic and weather up next. It's 12:31.
You're ready for a new deck, but don't know where to start. You can DIY, use an unlicensed chuck in a truck, an overpriced luxury designer, or you can choose us. Hi, I'm Scott Nelson, owner of Nelson Exteriors, and we do decks differently. We build beautiful, high-end decks at a reasonable price with lots of options. We're licensed and insured. We'll work with the materials you choose and stay within your budget. Call Nelson Exteriors for an extraordinary deck renovation. Google Nelson Exteriors.
Whether it's a slip that ends in a slip disc, a trick knee that's holding you back, or shoulder pain hurting your game, you can count on Northside Hospital Orthopedics. With leading care in Georgia at convenient locations all across the state, we're here to get you back on your feet, no matter what comes your way. Because Georgia moves us, and we keep Georgia moving. Find a provider near you at northside.com/ortho. That's northside.com/ORTHO.
When markets get rocky, the worst thing you can do is nothing. Hi, I'm David Nicholas, president and founder of Nicholas Wealth Management. Times like these demand action and a plan you can trust. That's why we rely on our trademark Retire Ready Bucket strategy. This strategy is designed to place a percentage of your portfolio into lower risk, income producing income bucket, aiming to generate steady cash flow for the first 10 to 15 years of retirement. Meanwhile, your growth bucket is filled with dividend and growth stocks, which has time to recover when markets are going crazy. So call Nicholas Wealth today at 678-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com to schedule a time to sit down with our team to review your plan. This strategy was crafted by experience. It's battle tested, and it's how you aim to keep your retirement on track even when the markets are not. So call Nicholas Wealth today at 678-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com. At Nicholas Wealth Management, we're prepared. Are you? Don't wait for the next headline to shake your confidence. Call Nicholas Wealth today, 678-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com. Nicholas Wealth Management. Retire ready.
Nicholas Wealth Management is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Neither the information nor any opinion expressed is to be construed as solicitation to buy or sell a security or personalized investment, tax, or legal advice.
It is 12:34. Time for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Let's get an update on that red alert with Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
It continues. Austin, all lanes still shut down for this debris cleanup. 20 eastbound right at the downtown connector. 75-85 exit 57. You're slow back into West Atlanta. Martin Luther King Jr. Drive and Memorial Drive are ways around that. And it's also slowing downtown. 75-85 southbound as you leave 17th Street getting down to I-20. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Partly to mostly cloudy through the afternoon, high 89. Scattered pop-up showers and thunderstorms. Some will be heavy at times through this evening. Lows tonight in the low 70s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with scattered pop-up showers and thunderstorms, high 90.
Right now it is 82 in Conyers, 84 in Austell, and 83 in Midtown. More news at 1 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
Greetings. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be happy to have you. You know, we talked about the divisions, the Democratic Party. The Democrats aren't just a party in decline nationwide with voters. They're a party that is becoming increasingly divided. Now, let me explain this to you because I have some background experience in this from having been on CNN for 3 years and even Fox for 5 years. The national media, and that includes Republican-oriented media like Fox, they're predisposed to focus on divisions and challenges within the Republican Party. I don't know that you guys know even how behind the scenes at Fox, there are actually way more people on the left in the production spots than you might think. The on-air staff, very conservative. The immediate staff, very conservative. But a lot of the production people, not necessarily ideologically aligned. It's definitely more to the right, but even behind the scenes, you go to foxnews.com, you'll be amazed at the number of stories on trans issues where they use the preferred pronouns instead of actually calling the girl, and that's an editorial standard, not just an adoption of the AP, and it's worse everywhere else. But one of the sideline products of this is that the news generally is predisposed to focus on divisions within the Republican Party, not divisions within the Democratic Party. Think about now how Republicans are generally aligned. And Donald Trump has a lot to do with this. He is a force of nature in politics. But Republicans are largely aligned on abortion. Republicans are largely aligned on trans issues. Republicans are largely aligned against the left in this country. Republicans are generally aligned on opposition to China. We in the media highlights opposition and divisions in Ukraine, things like that. Economic divisions that are spilling out within the Republican Party that may be exaggerated. Although Howard Lutnick pushing socialism is not a good thing. Peronista propaganda. It's very interesting. The Democratic Party, however, they don't focus on the divisions. Here's a growing division of the Democratic Party. This is from Punchbowl News, which is, I'm not a big fan of the name, but at the same time, it's one of the more comprehensive sites of what's going on Capitol Hill. These are the people who used to actually do the playbook at Politico, and they got very, very good. And they wanted to be as straight as they possibly could, but Politico got co-opted by the left, as a lot of news entities do, and so these guys left and started Punchbowl. And they're Jake Sherman and his crew. They're pretty good at it, and they're highlighting a major division within the Democratic Party, a moment of reckoning, they call it, over something where the Republicans are pretty united and the Democrats are not. How to approach U.S. support for Israel amid the seemingly never-ending war in Gaza and the humanitarian crisis facing Palestinians. Nowhere in the country are the divisions more pronounced than in the party's messiest Senate primary in a must-win state for Democrats in 2026. The open Senate seat in Michigan, a state Donald Trump won in 2024, has triggered an intense battle that morphed into a proxy fight over the future of the Democratic Party. Haley Stevens, Democrat of Michigan, a congresswoman, has been the favorite for Democratic leadership, is doubling down in defense of Israel. State Senator Mallory McMorrow and former Michigan health official Abdul El-Sayed, to varying degrees, say Democratic voters want their leaders to reconsider what's been a reflexively pro-Israel stance by both parties. El-Sayed, a 40-year-old doctor who ran unsuccessfully for governor in 2018, was a prominent booster of the uncommitted movement during the Democratic primary last year. El-Sayed saw it as a way to pressure Biden to change his support for Israel's war in Gaza. Now, here's an interesting one that I missed. Catherine Clark in Washington, who is the House Minority Whip, which means she is the second highest ranking Democrat in the House. She referred to what's happening in Gaza as a genocide. Now, she's a radical wackadoo leftist who has some kid who joined Antifa. AIPAC has not walked back their endorsement because she walked back her genocide. She scrambled to say, I didn't really mean it that way. I didn't really mean it that way. Well, in Michigan, the preferred Democrat for the Senate race, Haley Stevens, is doubling down on defense of Israel. She says she's staying consistent. She said she would have opposed the Senate Israel resolution. I would not have voted for that legislation, in part because I don't think that was the solution to getting this war to end, getting the hostages to come home, building towards a lasting peace, and getting Hamas to surrender. She flipped a Trump district, and then in redistricting, she had to run against Andy Levin of Michigan, who was more critical of Israel, and AIPAC backed her, and she's doubling down. Now, one of her other competitors, this McMorrow, is urging AIPAC to stay out of the primary. Mike Rogers is on the Republican side. He's got Trump's endorsement. He was the guy who came close last time. He lost, but barely. And he is stridently in support of Israel. See, here's the problem for the Democratic Party. They've been coddling progressives for so long. Increasingly, leadership in Washington is trying to find ways to be critical of Israel without distancing themselves from Israel. I mean, Chuck Schumer is Jewish. He's a big proponent of Israel and an Israeli state for Jews to live in. He's not going to walk away from Israel, but he's got to give lip service to condemning Netanyahu. And the left is figuring out this game. So let me explain to you what the Democrats do. In order to not divide on this issue for a long time, what the Democrats have been doing is saying, we oppose the Netanyahu regime, and they use the word regime. We support Israel. We oppose Netanyahu. The people of Israel don't want this. Netanyahu does. Netanyahu bad. Israel good. But along come the progressives who are clued in on the game. And increasingly, progressives want what? A Palestinian state from river to sea. From river to sea, which means the end of Israel. They're not supporting half measures. This is the problem for the Democrats as well on trans issues, is it not? No half measures by the progressive activists. So the Democrats want to be able to say, yes, we agree, boys should not be in girls' spaces, but if a parent wants to transition their child, we should allow them. We should say sports are for your sex identity, not gender identity. But transition should be fine. They want to split the baby. They want to try to disarm themselves with suburban parents who are worried that boys may start taking girls' scholarships. And progressives will give them no space on this. Nancy Pelosi the other day said that she absolutely is thoroughly convinced that kids need to be allowed to transition, and that if you transition early enough, you should be allowed to get into the space of a child of a different gender. Most suburban parents of girls trying to get their girls' college scholarships are doing so in sports. They pick sports that, whether it's softball or golf or tennis or even riflery, things like that where schools are looking for ways to give scholarships to girls. They go in and here comes a boy to compete, and parents are appalled. But progressives are not, because progressives believe that boys can become girls. Progressives believe it's just magic. It is a by faith belief that a boy can become a girl or a girl can become a boy, and progressives believe that the way you enforce this by faith belief is the punishment of blasphemers who reject it. Look at the 3 boys I talked about in Loudoun County, Virginia yesterday in a locker room complaining about a girl being present. The girl breaks the rules by videotaping the boys in the bathroom locker room. She does not get punished. They get punished for objecting to her being there. Progressives give no half measure to this. What the Democrat position, what they want it to be, is that, look, the girl shouldn't be there, but we should respect her right to transition to become a boy. She's clearly going through something. We should show utmost empathy. You know, you can show empathy without actually caving. You can be sympathetic without bending over backwards to embrace. But to progressives, you can't. They've weaponized empathy. Was it Joel Rigney has a book out about empathy and how empathy is kind of a modern concept that was derived in the 60s, where we don't want to be sympathetic to someone. We just want to understand what someone's going through. And I actually agree with that. Now, he's very critical of the concept. I'm not. We should understand what someone's going through in life. We should try to examine when we're opposed to someone, when we disagree with them. Well, let's at least understand if we can see it from their frame of mind. What are they going through? The problem is what the left wants you to do is, once you've understood what they're going through, because you're empathetic to them, you must give them license to do it. That's where I draw the line. I can understand that someone is going through mental stress, mental issues. They believe that transitioning is the way to do it. And I can still say, no, that's not it. That's not right. The left, however, it's all or nothing every time. It's all or nothing on, you got to support the Palestinians and Hamas. You can't support Israel. It's all or nothing on transgenderism. It's all or nothing on economic policy. It's all or nothing on war. It's all or nothing on Christians involved in public services. They got to sue the nuns. They got to sue the bakers. They got to sue the photographers. They got to sue the florists. You will be made to care. And Americans are tired of being bullied by the left. So here in Michigan is the dividing line, and it's shaping up to be a big one, support for Israel. More and more people on the left are vilifying AIPAC, the American Israeli Political Affairs Committee. It's actually a great organization. It is highly influential in Washington, D.C., and it is very well funded. And it is the part of all sorts of conspiracy theories on the far left and the far right. Anti-Semites on both sides despise AIPAC. It's actually a great group. It's a very influential group. But there's a dividing line on the left now. You can't be down with AIPAC. You can't do it. You're not allowed to. If you do it, it's bad because they're Jews, and you can't like the Jews. That's where the left is these days. It's this really, really insane breakdown. It is a genuinely insane division in the Democratic Party premised on anti-Semitism. And the progressives will not allow half measures. You are no longer allowed as a Democratic leader to say you support Israel but hate Netanyahu. You got to hate Israel too. And it's breaking up that party. It's becoming an issue in primaries. And unfortunately, well, fortunately for us, unfortunately for the progressives, they're losing these primaries because most voters, including those who are still remnants in the Democratic Party, they're like, no, this is crazy. I'm not going to go along with this. It reminds me, there's a guy out there who he's in a very progressive denomination, and he claims, I'm actually kind of suspicious of him. He claims that he's a evangelical, inerrant Word of God guy, and he just refuses to leave his liberal denomination, and he's going to bring it back to the right. And I don't actually necessarily think the guy is, but you kind of see that with some Democratic Party people. They're like, I'm not leaving this party. I was here before them. I'm not leaving. Well, no, the party's leaving you, buddy. That's the problem. And right now the party's cracking up because the progressives are the people who write the biggest checks in the Democratic Party, and they're dividing the party from its base. I want to divide you from stinky odors. You can separate yourself from them with the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. You can get 3 of them for less than $200, saving $200 at EdenPureDeals.com. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is Eric3. You go to EdenPureDeals.com, you'll see a radio show host box, and you put in the promo code ERICK3, the number 3, and you get 3 of them. They're air purifiers, so they get rid of dust, they get rid of pollen, they get rid of mildew floating in the air. They also get rid of 99.9% of bacteria and viruses floating in the air that get pulled through the machine with the generation of plasma. And then they eliminate the odors. They generate ozone, flows out into the space where you're running them. Ozone particles, they're O3 particles. They're unstable oxygen particles. Oxygen likes to be O2, not O3. It wants to give up that extra atom of oxygen, and when you hit the ionized odor particle, it gives up that one, and it eliminates the odor, wipes it out. No odor can stand up to it. It's just science. You go to EdenPureDeals.com and you use the discount code ERICK3, ERICK3, and you can get 3 of them and save $200.
Honest.
Putting your trust in me to tell you what's going on.
Transparent.
I need you to know this from the bottom of my heart.
Giving you the information without the noise.
My job isn't to tell you what you want to hear, it's to tell you the truth.
It's the Erick Erickson Show.
1250 Cool Day Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Red alert continues downtown. All lanes shut down. 20 eastbound at the downtown connector. That's 7585 exit 57 with this debris cleanup where a dump truck spilled a load of rocks on the roadway. They've had the ramps from 7585 to 20 eastbound shut down. Looks like they've just reopened, but it's done a number to the downtown connector. So think about Northside Drive, Peachtree, and then to avoid I-20, Memorial Drive or Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. Traffic brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Now at Whole Foods Market, get organic yellow peaches or nectarines for $2.99 per pound with Prime through August 26th while supplies last. Shop in store or online. Terms apply. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Chris Chandler here from Atlanta's Morning News, hoping with Paws Atlanta to find a home for our WSB Dog of the Month, Smidgen. She's 2-year-old or so mixed breed, beautiful brown and white, and looking for a new family. Meet her at WSBRadio.com/dog. Our sponsor, Finley Roofing, will pay the adoption fees. WSBRadio.com/dog.
Home improvement projects can be a stressful guessing game. Trust the Plus. Painting Plus, the highest level of communication. The Plus means siding, gutters, windows, decks, porches, roofing, and of course, painting.
Hi, I'm Charlie, owner of Painting Plus and the Plus family of businesses. We'll make you comfortable and keep you informed with every step of your project.
If your home's exterior has it, the Plus can improve it. Painting Plus, siding, gutters, windows, decks, porches, roofing, and more. Trust the Plus. PaintingPlus.com.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, with all the things we're reading, seeing, and living through these days, from rate cuts, election season, and now a new administration, now seems like a great time to make sure we have that comprehensive plan in place. You know, the one that covers all our financial bases.
There are occasions throughout the year where I feel like it's critical for people to engage their financial lives and get the information that they deserve from a financial advisory team. And this is one of those times, to be quite frank. So we ask that you call us if you have a minimum of $500,000 in your full portfolio. But we're going to do away with that minimum so that those folks can have an equal opportunity to understand what's in their portfolio as well. Now, you have to have some money, right? I can't help you to build your wealth at work, right? But I sure can help, I believe, with your 401k, IRA management. There's probably 2 or 3 things that'll surprise you that you may want to take action on. So the next 10 people that call in will work up either a portfolio x-ray, or if you feel like you need a full retirement plan, go to unleashyourmoney.com, click on portfolio x-ray, or click on full retirement plan. We think you'll be impressed enough, and we want you to become a client. There's no question about it. We believe that we are a very competent fiduciary advisory team, and we want to offer that to our listeners. Let Hoffman Financial Group actually show you how we perform, and I believe we perform at the pinnacle of this industry.
Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
Hey, it's Scott Slade for FGA Roofing. If your home's exterior could use an updated look, or maybe one of your neighbor's designer roofs has caught your eye, and your current roof has started to show its age, then now's the perfect time to check out FGA Roofing for the latest in architectural shingles, timberland shingles, and more. Slate, tile, wood shake, cedar roofs, FGA has them all. FGA Roofing offers 0% financing for 12 months with your good credit. Get the roof you want now and pay over time. Click firstgaroof.com. That's firstgaroof.com.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
All the information without the spin. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Hello, my friends. 877-973-7425 is the phone number. Let's go to Dan calling from Apopka, Florida. Welcome to the show, sir. If I can actually push the button there. Well, how are you?
Well, I'm good, except I just started to eat my lunch. And I knew you were going
Sorry.
to pick up.
I did it on
It's okay.
purpose, Dan. I've been watching.
I
You just
know.
didn't realize.
I know. Big Brother's out there. Hey, are you going to address the CAFE standard rollbacks for diesel engines? Because my friend, is a huge deal.
Yeah, so I actually talked about that the other day a little bit on the show.
Oh, okay.
And it actually is a huge deal in large part because the way they did it is in the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, they can't actually roll it back per se. So what they did was say, if you ignore the standards, you're not going to get fined by the government anymore. That's how they did it in the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Completely guts the CAFE standards essentially, and it is massive for diesel engines, for gas engines. It's a huge deal for everybody right now.
Well, I drive a truck for a living. I own a diesel pickup. My diesel pickup is 20 years old because I did not want DEF. I didn't want an EGR valve, all of that nonsense. This is going to save trucking companies huge amounts of money. Owner-operators are going to be able to get back in the space and make a decent living.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of problems with heavy trucks, with light-duty trucks, has been the implementation of these standards, the DEF system, all of these things. So I just, it seems like it's under the radar. I haven't heard a whole lot about it from, national media, but I didn't really expect to. But it just gives me so much hope going forward. I may actually buy a new truck in a couple of years if I don't have to buy all that garbage.
So now here's the thing, and look, Dan, I appreciate the phone call. I'll let you get to your lunch as well. Here's the thing: be careful on this because they got rid of the penalties, and they were able to roll back some of the rules related to CAFE standards. They repealed, for example, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration rules on CAFE standards. But because it's a penalties rollback, there may be some hesitancy. If they can rush them, if manufacturers can rush them, I think that is great. Sidley Austin, which is a major prominent law firm, actually has a legal analysis out saying that it means manufacturers can produce those vehicles without worrying about the penalties. And allegedly, from what I've read online, advised their clients, which are some of the automotive companies, that you can go for it. I hope that's the case because you're absolutely right. It will allow meaningful cost savings for a lot of trucking companies. It will improve the caliber of the trucks, and that'll ultimately be costs passed on to consumers, which is a good thing, reduction in costs passed on to consumers, as opposed to the tariffs, which are now being expanded on more aluminum and steel products. And major American companies are coming out, including soft drink companies, coming out today saying expect prices to start going up next month because of the tariffs on aluminum cans and things like that. Companies are passing costs on to consumers at this point. When we come back, I want to look at a bunch of different media stories that are completely unrelated, but every single one of them was wrong. And let's see if we can play Spot the Pattern with the media making mistakes in how they tell the news. It's kind of eye-opening. When you do it this way, you can obviously guess where this leads, but it's worth doing the exercise together when we come back.
More local news.
Atlanta's airport's bracing for record-breaking crowds. Apparent murder in the Grant Park area.
More traffic.
A crash in the Cobb Cloverleaf.
One crash on I-20 westbound.
You're on and off the brakes beginning at University.
More weather.
Looking at rotation that is near the city of Brooks, thunderstorm is capable of producing a quick spin-up tornado.
Atlanta's Morning News.
Governor Kemp reacting to that tariff pause.
Tomorrow morning at 5.
Wake up with 95.5 WSB. How Atlanta starts its day.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-458-9469. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-458-9469. 800-458-9469. 800-458-9469.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results vary. Consult with your tax professional prior to enrollment.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 1 o'clock, I'm Austin Eller. This news brought to you by Nelson Exteriors. Our top local story: that red alert is still in place on I-20 at the downtown connector. Let's get an update now with Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Yeah, what a mess, Austin. This red alert continues. All lanes shut down with the debris cleanup. 20 eastbound right at the downtown connector. 75-85 exit 57. You're slow back to Lowry Boulevard. The good news is the ramps from 75-85 to 20 eastbound are back open, but to avoid that I-20 closure, use Martin Luther King Jr. Drive or Memorial Drive, some alternates around it. Austin?
Thanks, Alex. We'll get another update here in just a few minutes. It is 83 degrees right now in Midtown Atlanta. Clouds are out today across the metro. WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. Construction begins on Chambly's Real-Time Crime Center, partially financed by a nearly $1.4 million community public safety grant. Chief Michael Diapa says the new center will give them a solid network with surrounding counties like Cobb and Gwinnett.
If a crime happens in Chambly and the offender flees into another city or even into another county, if they have a network that we're compatible with, we would continue to be able to use their cameras to track our offender.
Nearby Dunwoody also has a real-time crime center where they can work together on cases. Target's CEO resigns amid sluggish sales, boycotts, and more.
Some say it was because of consumer boycotts over Target's scaling back of inclusion initiatives. Some say it was because Target never really recovered in the new retail landscape after the pandemic. And still others say it was because of customers defecting to lower-priced Walmart or Amazon.
Sherry Preston reports CEO Brian Cornell will leave the position in February. Target's net income dropped 21% this past quarter. The Gwinnett County Sheriff's Office gets a new canine officer to help track down evidence in child exploitation cases.
The black Labrador named Dee is officially an electronic storage detection canine. That means she's trained to detect digital storage devices that may contain child sexual abuse material. The Gwinnett County Sheriff's Office says Dee helps the trace unit by identifying concealed devices like micro SD cards and internal and external hard drives. Bottom line, the canine will increase the chances of discovering time-sensitive evidence to protect the public from sexual predators. Cheryl Castro, 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta-based Delta Airlines is sued by passengers over windowless seats. It's all part of a class action lawsuit, which also includes United Airlines. Passengers claim they bought window seats, but when they got to their seats, there was no window. Plaintiffs are asking for millions of dollars in damages on behalf of over 1 million passengers who paid more for the premium seats. Neither airline is commenting on that lawsuit. We've got live team coverage of traffic and weather next. It's 102.
Skip the hassle of constantly cleaning and costly repairs and sell your home completely stress-free with a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. Sean Hannity here. Now's a great time to sell your home in Atlanta as home values have continued to rise and your home may be worth more than you even realize. With the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate, you can receive the strongest cash offer in the industry and close within days. Find out what the guaranteed offer would be on your home. There's no obligation. Go to markspain.com and you can start packing.
If you're a man with a family, you do have 2 jobs. And that second job after your tough day at the office needs your energy and focus too. Try this today. On the way home, find a point halfway home and mentally leave everything from your first job there. Spend the rest of the ride getting ready for your second job so you can walk through the door ready to give your best. This is Tom Gray, and This Stuff Matters.
ThisStuffMatters.net.
Sponsored by DQ Grill and Chill in Powder Springs, located on Austell Powder Springs Road.
Attention men, does ED and PE have you down? Well, great news. Choice Men's Health has the latest breakthrough treatments that can get you up and running. Meet the specialist who is dedicated to helping you perform better than ever in the bedroom.
Hi, I'm Dr. Katz, Chief Medical Director at Choice Men's Health. Our custom treatment plans have a 98% success rate at improving ED and PE on your very first visit, even if Viagra and Cialis have failed. Regardless of your age and medical history, we are here and dedicated to help you regain your love life.
Don't wait. Call Choice Men's Health now. We are so confident we can help. For a limited time, we're offering to cover your first treatment for free. Call 404-400-1170. Call now to claim your free treatment. 404-400-1170. Results guaranteed on your first visit or it's free. 404-400-1170. Choice Men's Health, the only choice for your health.
At Butler Lexus of South Atlanta, buying a car is more than a transaction. It's a 5-star experience because they value you. Enjoy personalized offers and luxury perks, all designed with you in mind. Visit ButlerLexusSouthAtlanta.com or call 800-NEW-LEXUS today. Butler Lexus South Atlanta, the standard of amazing.
It's 1:05. Time for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams is in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Still watching the red alert downtown Austin. All lanes shut down. 20 eastbound right at the downtown connector, exit 57. Trying to clean up this spilled rock debris in the roadway. You are slow from Lowry Boulevard, Martin Luther King Jr. Drive, Joseph E. Boone, and Memorial Drive. Some alternates around that. It's got the connector south slow back toward the 17th Street area in Midtown, and a left lane stall in DeKalb, 285 northbound, the outer loop before I-20, exit 46. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Partly to mostly cloudy through this afternoon, high 89. Scattered rain showers and thunderstorms just in time for the ride home this evening.
Right now it is 83 degrees in Forest Park, 84 in Mableton, and 83 in Midtown. More news at 1:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
Greetings, conversationalists across the fruited plain. Welcome. It's Eric Erickson here, and I'm delighted to have you. The phone number is 877-973-7425. You want to be on the program, don't forget to text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777. I want to play a game. Can you spot the pattern? Can you spot the pattern? It's actually necessary, and I want to thank Robert. Robert probably doesn't want to be thanked. Robert is a progressive troll. Robert came after me yesterday because I said that restaurant reservations in the District of Columbia were up since President Trump cracked down on crime. And Robert insisted that I was lying, that wasn't true, that he read about it in the New York Times, he saw people talk about it on MSNBC, that actually restaurant reservations had collapsed in Washington, D.C., and I was a liar. Robert is one of those progressives who gets his news from MSNBC and left-wing outfits, and Robert is regularly lied to, and Robert doesn't even realize he is being lied to by the American Press Corps. Yet Robert has been lied to. Peter Baker at the New York Times was one of the most prominent reporters to advance the story from a local TV station in Washington, D.C., that restaurant reservations were down 25% since Donald Trump cracked down on crime in Washington. That was the story in Washington at the local TV station, that restaurant reservations were down 25%. And Peter Baker pushed this story out on social media. It was talked about on left-wing news channels. Robert, the left-wing troll, heard about it. He got mad at me. and insisted I was lying to my listeners by saying that restaurant reservations were up in Washington. Robert, I was right, and Peter Baker of the New York Times and the other media outlets were wrong. You see, the reason reservations were down is because last year in Washington, D.C., it was Restaurant Week. And you had a massive number of people getting reservations at restaurants to participate in Restaurant Week, and Restaurant Week was not this past week in Washington, D.C. this year. And what the local media outlet did is they looked at all the reservations in restaurants last year from some of the open resources out there like Open Table and the like. And they saw that last week, you had X number of reservations at restaurants, and this year you had a 25% decline. And look. They were wrong. They forgot. In fact, the local news station that started this all has now retracted their story and noted it's actually a 30% increase in reservations for restaurants when you factor out Restaurant Week and the participating restaurants in D.C. last year. 30% increase in reservations. I was right. They were wrong. And this left-wing troll who came after me insisting I was lying and needed to correct the record, well, I've corrected the record for you, sir, but my audience was not lied to. You were lied to. Isn't it funny how the lie benefited the left-wing talking points? Last year, the New York Times, the Washington Post, CNN, MSNBC, USA Today, the Seattle Times, the Denver Post all ran stories about an apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado that Donald Trump highlighted, Fox News highlighted. They interviewed residents of the apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado, who were scared to death. It was a dilapidated old apartment complex. A lot of people were trying to move out of the apartment complex. They were poor. They were on government assistance, and Trinidad, the violent gang from Venezuela, had taken over. And there were home surveillance footage of men in the hallways with machine guns, not semi-automatic rifles, but automatic machine guns. And these news outlets insisted when Donald Trump highlighted this on the campaign trail and actually did a campaign event in Aurora, Colorado, that he was a lying racist and he was trying to stir up already heightened tensions over illegal immigration, and he was misrepresenting the situation, and it simply was not true. National media outlets insisted that there was not a problem. But it wasn't just national media outlets. It was also Democrats. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris denounced Donald Trump for making this attack. The local politicians in Denver and Aurora, Colorado did. The governor of Colorado did. They all said what Donald Trump was saying was simply not true. And Donald Trump was heightening tensions that already existed in this immigrant community and making matters worse. The New York Times did a big story about, well, it's complicated. Here's what's not complicated. Yesterday, the Department of Justice indicted 28 of the Trinidad gang members who lived in that apartment complex for narco-trafficking, human trafficking, gun violence, sales of illegal guns, attempted murder, and a bunch of other crimes. 28 people in a single apartment complex were indicted by a federal grand jury in Colorado for a host, like 30-some crimes. 2 additional people who didn't live in the apartment complex but were actually controlling the violence at the apartment complex were also arrested and indicted. This is beyond an arrest. This is a federal indictment from a grand jury. It's not Pam Bondi just issuing charges. It's a federal grand jury that spent 9 months investigating what was going on, and they've indicted these people, and yet major national media outlets last year insisted there was not a problem. It's completely unrelated from restaurant reservations in Washington, D.C., except for one thing. The mistake was designed to make the Republicans look bad and the Democrats look like truth tellers. The mistakes always go one way. Multiple media outlets led by the British Broadcasting Corporation, the BBC, 2 days ago, ran a story about a woman from Gaza who starved to death on Israel's watch. They have since retracted the story. She had leukemia, advanced leukemia, and had a heart attack. It was Israel that actually rescued her and got her to Europe for medical treatment before she died. But the initial story was that she was just another victim of the Israeli genocide. The story, the mistake, goes one way. This comes a week after a story about a child featured on the New York Times who was starved to death by the Israelis, and it turns out he had a severe birth defect and other health abnormalities, and he wasn't actually starved to death. He was dying because of congenital birth defects. The mistakes go one way. This came weeks after a story about Israel firing on starving Gazans who were in a food line who wanted help, and it turns out it was Hamas firing on them, not Israel. And that story incited a man in Boulder, Colorado to go out and gun down or fire, they use a homemade flamethrower and burn up Jewish supporters of Israel at a regular protest. He killed a Holocaust survivor. After hearing the story in the media, that only after he killed a Holocaust survivor did the media say, "Oops, our bad, wrong. Turns out it wasn't Israel." The mistakes always go one way. Anti-Israel, anti-Republican, all the mistakes, all the time, go to advance progressive talking points. Every single person listening to me right now has another example of the media making an egregious mistake to make the right look bad. And it happens about Donald Trump all the time. You know, I have a rule on my program now where if there's a big salacious story about Donald Trump in the press, I wait 24 to 48 hours before talking about it, much to the chagrin of some, because I know 9 times out of 10 it's going to be retracted. Like, for example, the story about Intel and the government wanting control of Intel, 10% of Intel stock. I waited to bring that story up till it was confirmed that it was actually something the Trump government wanted, and Howard Lutnick went on CNBC to say as much, and I think that's bad, and that's not a mistake, but it was a big story. It's like, I got to wait and see if this is real. Because there are ample stories about Donald Trump in the press that simply turn out not to be true, and the press runs with these stories. Remember back during Trump's first term, CNN ran a very salacious story about how James Comey was going to go testify in Congress about collusion with Russia or some such, or the Trump administration trying to pressure people in government to cover something up, and it turned out not to be true. It wasn't in his testimony. The mistakes always run one way. Always to advance the left. And they're willing to cover stories up. They're willing to leave details out. Think about the Maryland man who was sent to El Salvador. Maryland father sent to El Salvador. Wasn't really a mistake. It was a willful leaving out of key details. He was not just a Maryland father. He was an illegal alien from El Salvador who went to Maryland, who the government believed might be tied to MS-13. They left out the key details. There was one a week or so ago about an Illinois man who was rounded up by the government. It turns out he, too, was an illegal alien. When they leave out key facts, it's designed to shape a story to benefit progressives. Now, here's the thing. You and I, we all know that this sort of stuff happens. But the press is actually in decline. The number of people who watch the news is in decline. The number of people who subscribe to newspapers is in decline. The number of people who get their news from alternative sources is actually on the rise. And oftentimes, unfortunately, it's grifters and charlatans taking advantage of it and starting news services for people who now, because of the internet, have lost their ability to discern and just tells them what they want to hear and tells them oftentimes stuff that's not true. There's a very prominent social media account yesterday showing a group of African immigrants who were trying to get to Italy. And as they were approaching the Italian coast, their ship overturned and a lot of people died. You could actually see the video of this ship, and it had like hundreds of people. I mean, there was no room to even walk on the ship, and it was starting to sink under the weight of people. As it got to Italy, it was taking on water, and it actually turned out to be a video from the Democratic Republic of Congo multiple years ago. There are people who want to tickle your ears. There are people who want to lie to you. There are people like Tucker Carlson now willing to platform people who want to rewrite history and make Winston Churchill the monster of World War II and Adolf Hitler was just misunderstood. It's happening on the right. It is. The people on the right who are doing this wouldn't have license or ability or room to do it but for the national mainstream media becoming so captured by the left and willing to lie to advance the left's agenda, willing to get stories wrong to advance the left's agenda. The left in the National Press Corps created the environment by which you can now be lied to by people on the right because the press decided to stop telling the whole story. They leave out details that might hurt the left. They shade details to benefit the left, and they're willing to make mistakes that always benefit the left. It is the National Press Corps that has created the environment. The very people who complain about disinformation and misinformation are the ones who give us so much misinformation and disinformation. They've opened the floodgates to others to do the same. And now their reaction is, how dare you do what we're experts at? And they've got a suicide wish. They actually don't want to fix themselves. Look at the Washington Post. Jeff Bezos starts cracking down on the liars at the Washington Post who are deeply pro-terrorist, deeply pro-Hamas, and they start flooding, they start taking early retirement and leaving. Because what does he want them to do? He wants them to take the side that is pro-America, pro-freedom, pro-democracy. You're like, well, I'm not writing pro-democracy stuff. I'm just writing that the Democrats are the Democratic Party, and so anything against the Democrats is a threat to democracy. I mean, that is kind of it, too, that anything that impacts the Democrats is a threat to democracy. Rewriting congressional districts is a threat to democracy unless the Democrats do it. The press created the environment by which all these grifters and charlatans can stand up and take advantage of you because the press has been taking advantage of you. The mistakes they make always, without fault, always benefit the left. And that should tell them something, but they already know it and don't care.
Those who love him, listen to find out what he's going to say next. Those who disagree with him, also listen to see what he's going to say next. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
120 Coolray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Got some good news for those traveling I-20 eastbound toward downtown. Debris cleanup has wrapped up. All lanes are back open. 20 eastbound right at the downtown connector. That's 7585 exit number 57. So those brake lights back toward Joseph E. Lowry Boulevard in MLK Junior Drive will start to improve. And all lanes blacked and reopened. 285 northbound, the outer loop at I-20 exit 46 in DeKalb to clear a stall. Traffic brought to you by the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities. Hey Teens, Teen Summit hits Duluth September 6th. Live music by Jonah Murray. Keynote by Doug Middleton. College panel and free lunch. Don't miss it. Register now at preventsuicidega.org. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
All the notifications you need.
This story developing in Marietta.
All the local and breaking news alerts you need.
We're following breaking news in Atlanta.
All in one place.
The 95.5 WSB app.
Download it today.
Hey homeowners, it's Erick Erickson here. Do your windows and doors stick? Are you noticing cracks in the drywall or the brickwork? You might have a big problem. Serious issues need the serious experts at Engineered Solutions of Georgia. Their skills are unmatched, as are their foundation solutions. When these guys repair a problem, it's the last time you'll have to worry about it. Done once, done right. Start today with a free inspection. Go to ESOGrepair.com. That's ESOGrepair.com.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
The foods we eat can be downright bad for our health. This is Sue from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've been teaching the truth about real bread. Not the stuff you buy at the store. I'm talking real bread made with freshly milled flour. When you buy bread from the store, take a look at the ingredients. Enriched flour means that the nutritious bran and germ has been removed to improve the shelf life. Then a few B vitamins and iron are added back to replace the multitude of nutrients lost. That's not enrichment in my book. And today, that label may even read contains bioengineered food ingredients. Food should never be bioengineered. At Bread Beckers in Woodstock, we can teach you how to make real bread loaded with fiber and nutrients. A delicious, healthy, affordable solution that can improve your health and change your life. Visit breadbeckers.com or our Bread Beckers store in Woodstock.
Got a leaky pipe, heating, or cooling issue? Ace Hardware Home Services is around the corner with everything you need to fix it, including the expert to do the fixing. We're not just the helpful hardware folks, we're the helpful home service and repair folks too. From plumbing to heating and cooling, the licensed and insured experts at Ace Hardware Home Services are ready to keep your home running smoothly all year long. Online at aceHardwareHomeservices.com or call 770-233-7787.
Do you hear scratching, scampering, and scurrying noises in your attic? Guess what? You have squirrels up there and they're not leaving without a fight. But Breda Pest Management will battle those squirrels guaranteed. Dave Baker here. When someone seals a squirrel's entry point in your attic, do you think the squirrel gives up? Well, they don't. They will chew their way back in. You got squirrels upstairs? You need the Breda Wildlife Guarantee. Only Breda covers every entry point, old and new. The other companies only guarantee the entry point they seal, so each time a squirrel chews a new hole, and they will, it'll cost you hundreds of dollars more. But under the Breda Wildlife Guarantee, you stay protected at no additional cost. A trained wildlife expert will dispose of their nesting, disinfect and sanitize, and if a squirrel finds its way back in, Breda's got your back. Breda Pest Management. They handle bugs and critters. BREDA Pest.com.
Breda, Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-458-9469. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-458-9469. 800-458-9469. 800-458-9469.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results vary. Consult with your tax professional prior to enrollment.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Get Eric's daily show prep email. Text DATA to 33777 and you'll be in the know.
Greetings, conversationalists. How are you? It's Eric Erickson here, 877-973-7425. Let's go to Scott. Welcome to the show, Scott. How are you?
Hey, Eric. How you doing today?
Great. What's going on?
Hey, I just wanted to say I think I got a solution to the Ukraine war. I think they should use the Korean War plan like they did in 1953, because this war is so similar to the Korean War. It's just that to set up a DMZ, that land that Putin Zelensky's fighting over, is set up a DMZ and put the UN troops in there instead of NATO or any other.
Well, you know, so I'm glad you called on this issue, Scott, because, you know, the president is now making clear he doesn't want boots on the ground from the United States, but he is willing to have American air support to support European boots on the ground. And he's asked the Joint Chiefs of Staff to draw up a plan that would allow American air support to help European troops stationed in Ukraine to keep a future Russian invasion from happening. Now, when I come back, Scott, stick around for me, and thanks for the phone call, because I actually had an epiphany this morning. I actually think perhaps Donald Trump is a little more wily than people have wanted to acknowledge when it comes to dealing with Ukraine and Vladimir Putin. And there's a key point. I was doing some reading last night. I know, big mistake. And it dawned on me, I think we've probably missed a point in where the president is headed with this, even as now the left is up in arms again, and a lot of the foreign policy establishment is up in arms today about the president yet again attacking Zelensky, saying Ukraine's going to need to come to terms with losing territory and the like. And, you know, the Russians actually, this isn't a war over territory for the Russians, and we, I think, miss that this isn't actually a war over territory from the Russian perspective. So when we come back, I want to give those of you who hate the president a little bit of perspective, and you can say it's by accident. You can say it's the people whispering in his ear. It's not really him, except he's the one who has done something that no one else has done. I'm not going to give it away, but it just gives me a little more appreciation for Trumpian foreign policy. I want to talk to you, though, about Hillsdale College right now. If you go to ericforhillsdale.com, you can take a free class from Hillsdale College on the Federalist Papers. My son is in APUSH, they call it, AP U.S. History, and he's about to do a deep dive into the Federalist Papers. I'm like, buddy, I need to sign you up for these. They're 30-minute lectures by one of the best professors at Hillsdale College on the Federalist Papers. I think it's 7 to 10 episodes on the writings of the Federalist Papers. Really good stuff. But they've also got them on chemistry and economics and history and literature and religion and philosophy. You name it, they got it. 40 different classes to choose from at no cost to you. They're each, it depends on the class how many episodes there are, but they're all about 30-minute long videos. You do them at your own pace at no charge from Hillsdale College. Improve your mind on a subject you care about with Hillsdale. All you do is go to Eric, E-R-I-C-K, ericforhillsdale.com. You sign up with Hillsdale College today. Take one of these great classes. The Federalist Papers is a great one to start at. ericforhillsdale.com.
When traffic hits.
I-75 completely shut down north and south between McDonough and Locust Grove.
The Triple Team Traffic Center has you covered.
Brake lights fill in on 316 westbound at Sugarloaf Parkway.
Your source for Atlanta's traffic.
Heavy police fire department activity.
Brought to you by the Cool Ray Lifetime Parts and Labor Warranty.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News, weather,
Traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It's 1:30. I'm Austin Eller. This news brought to you by Ben Hill Renovations. Our top local stories happening now. The Fulton County Commission's discussing whether to move forward with a $1 billion plan to renovate the notoriously dangerous county jail after building a special facility for mental and medical health. Former Fulton County jailer Kevin Jones tells the county commission he wouldn't give the jail another dollar until there's competent management.
Officers on the floor do their best, but are overworked, unsupported, and afraid. Leadership, meanwhile, collect paychecks while cells remain broken and taxpayer money is wasted.
The plan's about half the cost of building a brand new jail. One Metro Atlanta high school is ranked among the best high schools in the country. The annual list of U.S. News and World Report puts Lawrenceville's Gwinnett High School of Math, Science, and Technology at number 13. It's also ranked the 11th best STEM school in the U.S. 98% of students participate in advanced placement courses there, and the school also has a 100% graduation rate. Hurricane Erin continues to move north in the Atlantic, and North Carolina Governor Josh Stein has issued a state of emergency for his state.
Based on the current forecast, we are anticipating coastal flooding from massive waves, tropical storm force winds, and tidal and storm surge for much of the state's shoreline.
Erin has prompted high surf advisories from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, all the way up to Cape Cod in Massachusetts. It is 1:31. Live team coverage of traffic and weather up next.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
When markets get rocky, the worst thing you can do is nothing. Hi, I'm David Nicholas, president and founder of Nicholas Wealth Management. Times like these demand action and a plan you can trust. That's why we rely on our trademark Retire Ready Bucket strategy. This strategy is designed to place a percentage of your portfolio into lower risk, income producing income bucket, aiming to generate steady cash flow for the first 10 to 15 years of retirement. Meanwhile, your growth bucket is filled with dividend and growth stocks, which has time to recover when markets are going crazy. So call Nicholas Wealth today at 678-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com to schedule a time to sit down with our team to review your plan. This strategy was crafted by experience. It's battle-tested, and it's how you aim to keep your retirement on track even when the markets are not. So call Nicholas Wealth today at 678-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com. At Nicholas Wealth Management, we're prepared. Are you? Don't wait for the next headline to shake your confidence. Call Nicholas Wealth today, 678-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com. Nicholas Wealth Management. Retire ready.
Nicholas Wealth Management is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Neither the information nor any opinion expressed is to be construed as solicitation to buy or sell a security or personalized investment, tax, or legal advice.
It's 1:34, time for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Let's check in with Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
All lanes blocked and reopened. South side perimeter, Austin 285 northbound. The outer loop before I-20 exit 46. Stall moved off to the right there, so the delays are improving, leaving 675. DOT says there's a stall in the center lane, 285 and northbound. The inner loop on the west side between Paces Ferry Road and Cobb Parkway exit 19, so that's causing the brake lights back toward South Cobb Drive. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Partly to mostly cloudy through the afternoon, high 89. Scattered pop-up showers and thunderstorms. Some will be heavy at times through this evening. Lows tonight in the low 70s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with scattered pop-up showers and thunderstorms, high 90.
It's 85 in Sandy Springs and 84 in Decatur and Midtown. More news at 2 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
Hello, America. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the nation. The phone number is 877-973-7425. If you want to be on the program, don't forget to text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777. If you're new to the show, what happens when you text Eric to 33777 is I send you back a number of links. It's actually the computer got it set up automatically. The very first link is the show notes. Every day we send out the show notes. When the show starts, all the stuff I'm going to talk about, all the links plus more. It's a deep dive into the news you need to know today. And you can actually get a discount on that daily email by clicking that top link. And then you also get a link to the podcast. We have a 24/7 stream where anytime you load it, there I am talking. You got links to Rumble, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, you name it. They're all there for you to keep up with me and the show and everything going on. Just text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777. Now, a funny thing happens to me in particular. I've talked to a number of friends of mine in conservative circles, Trump circles, and the like, and the consensus is generally it happens to me more than most people. And I know why it happens to me more than most people. Because I am the guy who mainlined the term never Trump. In 2016, I remember where I was. I was on a train from New York to Washington on a book tour, and I wrote a piece saying I would never vote for Donald Trump, and my buddy Aaron texted me and said, you need to actually change it to hashtag never Trump that I am seeing people use on Twitter. I did, and the term exploded. I wasn't the originator of it, but I was the one who mainlined it, and that post took off furiously in 2016. I said, look, I think the guy is a liberal Democrat. He was a Clinton supporter. He's a donor to Pelosi and Schumer. I'm not going to support him. And I didn't in 2016. I mean, my kids were beat up and harassed, and my daughter was harassed horribly. We had people show up at our home to threaten us, and I dug my heels in and said, no, I don't think this guy is good. I still, to this day, have problems with his character. But in 2020, I was like, you know what? He wasn't the person I thought he was. I would rather him than Joe Biden. I'm going to support Trump. And then we had this odd relationship where he would randomly start calling me. And in 2020, where I guess it was, it was his reelection in 2020. 2021, I said I didn't think the election was stolen as he claims and got a lot of hate for that. We haven't actually had a long conversation in quite a while on the phone, but I supported him in 2024. He's mad at me. He doesn't view me as a loyalist, and I'm not. I am perfectly willing to criticize him over tariffs, over wanting a stake in Intel. I am perfectly willing to criticize the things Donald Trump does. However, I supported Trump in 2020. I supported him in 2024. I am willing to defend what I think is a good policy of his. I'm willing to defend his handling of Ukraine. I'm willing to defend his tax cut plan. I'm willing to defend the crime crackdown. I'm willing to defend how he's handling illegal aliens. If I like what he's doing, I say so. If I don't like it, I say so. And that puts me in a weird position with people within the Trump administration where I have a lot of friends, because by design, it's the Trump administration. In order to try to get people into the circle, they want people to affirm everything. And I refuse to go there. And I've never been that way. I've never been a tribalist. I'm always believe I should tell the truth, even if people on my side get mad at me. And there are a lot of people on my side who tell me I'm not telling the truth because everyone else in the tribe says something. I'm like, no, I know I'm telling you the truth as best I can, but because I'm not affirming him, I kind of get excluded. Other people get way more access to me, and I'm fine with that. I don't like the access anyway. I mean, anyone who knows me, you come to my office, you're not going to see the me wall with me shaking hands with politicians, and you're not going to see me going to the meetings and doing my radio. And first of all, that's not how I do radio. Like, if you listen to the program, I don't do a lot of interviews by design because we have enough research to show that you guys don't like it when I do interviews. There are very few exceptions. If it's a sitting politician of some prominence, like if Donald Trump wanted to call in, I would gladly do it, but he won't with me because I'm not a sycophant, and that's fine. I wear it as a badge of honor. But because of all of this, and I realize this isn't really a patting me on the back, it's to explain the weird situation I'm in, where when I do praise Donald Trump and use my platform to affirm what he's doing, I get intensely passionate and personal hate mail from people who feel like I am betraying them for having the audacity to defend Donald Trump. When I criticize Donald Trump, I get passionate, personally invective hate mail from people who think I'm betraying them. And part of that is because I try to be as relational as I am. I mean, y'all, any of you who listen now who have met me in real life know I am the exact same person. I'm not playing a character on radio like a lot of people do. I am me. Middle-aged fat white guy who likes to eat, and I sit around and drink bourbon and smoke cigars and talk to you all about politics, the news, and life. I am who I am. I don't pretend to be a character, and people have this relation with me through radio. I mean, I get invited to funerals for listeners and weddings. I'm not making that up. I say all of that to say I hesitate to go down the road I'm about to go down, but I need to go down this road because I know what's going to happen by people who think I'm their friend, and I am about to be the turd in their punch bowl for the day because I'm about to praise Donald Trump in a way that they're going to be infuriated by. Because where are we with Ukraine? Donald Trump is a fool. He is in Putin's pocket. He is undermining Ukraine. I think Donald Trump is being far more wily than people give him credit for when it comes to Ukraine. First of all, I recognize, because I actually am one of the people who I read Art of the Deal when it came out back in the day. When I was a kid, I was interested in business. Donald Trump has been puffing up Vladimir Putin because he wants Putin to see that he's not Joe Biden and that he can get a fair hearing from Donald Trump. And part of the way Trump does this in negotiations is he vilifies the other side. Like, the Ukrainians need us. The Ukrainians have to have us. So Donald Trump can be as disparaging to Zelensky as Donald Trump wants to be, knowing he's not going to sever ties with Ukraine because Ukraine needs us. We don't need Ukraine. So he can do whatever he wants to do to Ukraine as a way to show Russia that, I'm willing to give you a fair hearing. I'm willing for you to come sit at the table. I'm willing to hear from you. And what happened? For the first time since Barack Obama was president, the Russian president met face-to-face, one-on-one with the American president. You may hate it. You may not like it, but it's Donald Trump. It's what he does. But in the process, you may not be paying attention to something Donald Trump has done. Donald Trump wants Vladimir Putin to sit face-to-face with Volodymyr Zelensky. You may say that's not a big deal, except it's a very, very, very big deal. And here's why. The Russians are not in this war for territory. I know to us and what you're hearing from Trump is this about territory. But if you listen to the Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov, he just gave an interview the other day where he made it very clear. This isn't about a war for territory. This is about the illegitimacy of the Ukrainian government. From the very start of the war, what has Vladimir Putin said? That Ukraine had to be invaded because the Nazis have taken over. Now, you and I may look on Ukraine and say, the Nazis, this is nuts. But in Russia, given World War II's history in Russia and the invasion of Hitler into Russia, remaking Napoleon's mistakes, the Nazis may be the kissing cousins of the Soviets, but to Soviet and now Russian propaganda, the Nazis are the devil themselves. And to say that the Ukrainian leadership are Nazis is to say that there can be no negotiation. They're illegitimate. So Vladimir Putin starts a war and says the Ukrainian government are Nazis. They're illegitimate. We must get rid of this illegitimate Nazi government. The foreign minister yesterday gives an interview and says this is not a war over territory. It's about the illegitimacy of the Ukrainian government. We cannot deal with these illegitimate people. Along comes Donald Trump, who everyone thinks is a bumbling idiot, and says, hey, I would love for you guys to get face-to-face. Let's solve this. How can Vladimir Putin sit in a room and treat as an equal a man he believes is an illegitimate Nazi? He can't. He can't do it. No leader of any nation will sit in a room and treat someone as an equal who he believes is an illegitimate, inferior Nazi. You're not going to do it. You're not going to give him, because if Vladimir Putin sits in a room and has a face-to-face meeting with Volodymyr Zelensky, what has he just done? He has legitimized the president of Ukraine. He has legitimized the positions of Ukraine. He has legitimized the counter-arguments of Ukraine. If he sits down in a meeting with Volodymyr Zelensky, suddenly the man he says is an illegitimate usurper becomes legitimized by the very act of the president of the Russian Federation sitting with him to discuss peace terms. And that's what Donald Trump says he wants. And if Donald Trump doesn't get it, well, then what's he going to do? He's going to arm up the Ukrainians to continue fighting the war, realizing Putin doesn't want peace. He's just put Putin in a no-win situation. Either he sits with Ukraine's president and legitimizes him, or he refused to, which gives Donald Trump license to fund the Ukrainians. Putin has been negotiating and navigating this entire path to keep us on the sidelines, to keep us from engaging. We can sell some arms to NATO and they can give them to Ukraine, but we can kind of restrict what they're doing and which arms we're selling, and we can drag this out, and we can put the Ukrainians in a position to have to negotiate with the Russians. And all Trump said is, hey, I want you, Vladimir, to sit down with Volodymyr. Volodymyr, sit down, have a conversation. Let's end this thing. Let's have peace. But that's because Donald Trump treats Zelensky as the legitimate leader of Ukraine, and the entire war from Russia's perspective has been premised on the idea that this is an illegitimate government of Nazis that must be overthrown. It's not about conquering territory. It's about wiping out the Ukrainian regime that are illegitimate Nazis. You can't have Vladimir sit with Volodymyr without it legitimizing Volodymyr in his positions. You cannot do it. And yet now Donald Trump has structured this thing in such a way that that's what must be done, or the United States doubles down on security guarantees for Ukraine. So what's Putin going to do? Putin doesn't want an end to the war. The entirety of the American foreign policy establishment thinks Donald Trump is a bumbling idiot who just, when he does stuff like this, he wanders into it by like, okay, you know what, for the sake of argument, just for the sake of argument, let's say he stumbled into this position by blind luck. He didn't mean it. It wasn't calculating, whatever. It's where he needed to be. So let's say it's God's providential hand then guiding Donald Trump. Oh, you don't like that either, do you? Maybe, just maybe, Trump sees something that the foreign policy establishment does not see. Like moving the embassy to Jerusalem from Tel Aviv, where every American president promised to do it, and then they never did because they're like, oh, we don't want to start a war. And Trump's like, let's see if we start a war. Guess what? We didn't. getting out of the Paris Climate Accord. It's going to be the end of the world. Is it? We're still here. Killing Qasem Soleimani, bombing Iran. The foreign policy consensus, if anything, has gotten kind of stale. The fancy word I use, sclerotic. It's hardened, and it's not good. And Trump keeps shaking up and challenging the foreign policy establishment. But in the process, Trump had to do something. He had to box Putin in to giving legitimacy to Ukraine. And if they don't give Ukraine the legitimacy of meeting with Volodymyr Zelensky, that's the biggest signal yet to Donald Trump. The Russians aren't really committed to peace, and you've tried everything you can. And so now let's just get on to killing the Russians. Trump did this, not the intelligentsia of the foreign policy community. Now, let me tell you about Swiss America. If you're in the process of, protecting your hard-earned assets, they've been warning people about a secret war on cash, and they would love to be able to help you. All you have to do is go to SwissAmerica.com/Eric, SwissAmerica.com/ERICK, and get their report, The Secret War on Cash. You can also call them. The report is completely free. Swiss America has been helping Americans protect their assets for a while now. 40 years, they've been the nation's leader in precious metals, and their report takes less than 15 minutes to read, and it shows how the government's trying to steer and curb your spending behaviors when it comes to cash and anonymous purchases. By the way, that includes cryptocurrency. Find out more with their report, The Secret War on Cash. You go to SwissAmerica.com/Eric today, or call or text my name, Eric, to 800-289-2646. When you call 800-289-2646, just tell them Eric Erickson sent you, or just text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. Let Swiss America help you. Message and data rates may apply.
When the truth seems hazy, Eric will clear the way. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
150 Coolray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. All lanes blocked briefly, now reopened in the cab. 285 northbound, the outer loop between I-20 and Glenwood Road. They got a stall off to the right there, so those delays will improve. Hadn't been fun on 285 northbound, the inner loop over on the west side from South Cobb Drive up through Smyrna Vinings. One stall cleared out of the way at Paces Ferry, but still seeing the right lanes jammed up trying to get up to Cobb Parkway. Traffic brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Save on your favorite brands at Whole Foods Market. Get 30% off Stonyfield Organic Select Yogurts with Prime through August 26th while supplies last. Shop in store or online. Terms apply. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Everyone has an opinion.
We have become an idiotic nation that doesn't know how to even debate anything, so it doesn't surprise
Eric Von Hessler has an opinion.
You will still age.
And some advice.
Start doing things when you're younger. Drink a lot of water.
Eric Von Hessler, today at 3.
And you will still die.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Y'all, there's a way for you to beat tariffs and still get that new kitchen you want. You Google Frugal Kitchens. Right now, you book an appointment with Frugal Kitchens. They're going to give you the Frugal Price Lock, where you're going to be able to get your kitchen remodeled with Frugal Kitchens for a great price with $1 million look, and you'll lock in pre-tariff pricing. Google Frugal Kitchens today. Book your appointment this month, and you'll save big and increase the value of your home with that kitchen you've been wanting. Google Frugal Kitchens today.
Did you know that warts are caused by a virus? Hi, it's Sue from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. A customer at Bread Beckers shared her story of frustration. Her daughter had warts, over 500 of them. Her beautiful, healthy daughter could not get rid of warts despite trying doctors, burning, freezing, ointments, you name it. We taught this woman that every nutrient needed to protect ourselves from viruses can be found in whole grains and real bread. She bought everything needed from Bread Beckers to make her own real bread at home. With this one simple change, her daughter's warts were gone in just 2.5 weeks for good. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've studied the incredible health benefits of whole grains and real bread. If you're struggling with warts, high cholesterol, bowel issues, or kids who seem to be constantly sick, take the first step to a healthier life. Visit breadbeckers.com or our Bread Beckers store in Woodstock.
Dave Baker here for Coolray Heating and Cooling. It's August, which means school is back in session. Hey kids, remember homework? Coolray will help keep you cool while you study at home. Right now, Coolray is offering up to $2,250 back in rebates and free installation with the purchase of a complete Carrier system. You know, proper installation is like a summertime sidekick for your HVAC, keeping cool air in and hot air out. Simply go to Coolray.com to book your appointment today. Coolray and Carrier. Turn to the experts.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
At Coosa Valley Credit Union, we believe in kinder banking. That means speaking to a real person, a state-of-the-art website and mobile app, and kinder banking means offering our members the most competitive rates in the market. This is Andy Harris. Come see us at Coosa Valley Credit Union.
The summer heat will make that crack in your wall expand. You have foundation problems. Dave Baker here. AquaGuard Foundation Solutions will find and fix your issues with a customized plan. Get your free evaluation at aquaguard.net.
AquaGuard. Has your pest control company told you they won't be coming inside anymore, and they raised your prices? Scott Slade here from my bug and critter company, Breda Pest Management. They protect the inside and outside of your home. So if your pest company is doing less, charging more, you need Breda to protect the inside and outside of your home. Get started at BREDAPest.com.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
The Eric Erickson Show.
Hello, America. It is Eric Erickson here. I want to jump to the phones here, 877-973-7425. Let's go to Pierce. You're up first. Welcome. How are you?
I'm good, Eric. How are you today?
Great. What's going on?
Well, I've been thinking about this whole peace agreement that's coming up with the Russian-Ukraine war. And with the security being offered by the European Union nations under the Article 5 of NATO's agreements, defense agreement. But NATO could still kind of, if Russia got real aggressive and decided to move into Ukraine again, I wonder if NATO could actually back out of that, and not put their troops on ground. The other thing is that I'm looking at is under the Ukrainian constitution, there's no elections during the war.
Mm-hmm.
What if Putin is playing a game too, saying, okay, I'll do a peace agreement. I'll let him have this NATO security agreement. I'll take the lands. He gives me these lands. We end the war. Now there has to be elections. What's saying Putin isn't playing an end around to get his puppet guy in, and then you got somebody who leans to Russia.
I mean, Putin's not above trying to steal elections for sure. But now let me clarify something, though, Pearson. This is the most important point. Is Donald Trump and Mark Rutte, the Secretary General of NATO, have both made it very clear that whatever happens in Ukraine will not be NATO. And it won't be NATO for exactly the reason that you're talking about, that an attack on one is an attack on all. It'll be a European agreement. It will be funding will be routed through NATO. The United States will provide air support, but it won't be a NATO peacekeeping mission. It'll be a European powers. It'll be a European Union event and other allied powers. So, I mean, the practical reality is it'll mostly be the same countries that are involved in NATO, but there's a very specific difference between the two. Very specific difference between NATO and the European Union. And I personally think that that's probably the way to go with, of course, the United States providing air support, no boots on the ground from the United States. I mean, we'll essentially become, again, the arsenal of democracy. We'll provide them all the weapons and the training, and the Europeans will use the weapons on the ground. They will build a line for the Ukrainians along the border with the Russians on any territory ceded. They'll mine the snot out of it, so anti-personnel, anti-tank mines in the ground to make it harder for the Russians to cross, and there'll be lots of Patriot missile batteries. I got to tell you, the updates on the Patriot missile batteries, too, the president talked about that the other day with Zelensky at the White House. The newest updates from the Patriot missile batteries that have taken some of the Israeli Iron Dome technology into them, they are really, really impressive technology. that Raytheon and others have developed for us, and it'll be in Ukraine. It's a very big deal. Now, when we come back, I'll keep taking your phone calls, but also Elon Musk appears, he made a big splash. He wanted that third party. He seems to be walking back his desire for a third party, which, given where we started the show with the data on the Democratic Party, is actually a smart thing. And I'll tell you why when we come back. There's no room for a third party in the United States, and the same data showing a Democratic decline shows that as well. Eric Erickson here, Nationwide.
More local news.
The employee at a Walmart in Covington is in custody. Atlanta companies already warning of turbulence in the economy.
More traffic.
One crash on I-20 westbound.
40 minutes to head up the connector.
More weather.
We may be seeing this tornado strengthening.
Atlanta's morning news.
Tomorrow morning at 5.
Newton County authorities crediting the Georgia State Patrol.
Wake up with 95.5 WSB. How Atlanta starts its day.
Hey, business owners, do you have managed IT services where it's somebody else, not a full-time in-house on the payroll guy managing your computers? You should check with Vision Computers for managed IT services. At least get a quote from them. Call them at 404-COMPUTE. Tell them I sent you. You could save a lot of money, and your employee productivity could go up. Why? Because instead of creating a ticket every time something breaks, they can talk to a real person. So a lot of studies are out there. Y'all know them. Employees don't like to create IT tickets. They kind of feel dumb when they have to. Instead, they can get on the phone in 15 seconds or less, get the answer to what's going on. It's shockingly low compared to what you're probably paying right now, and it's 15 seconds or less on the phone. It's the biggest no-brainer in business tech support. Vision Computers. Call them at 404-COMPUTE. Tell them Eric sent you. At least talk to them. What do you have to lose? Get a quote from Vision Computers for their managed IT support. Call them at 404-COMPUTE nationwide.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. The city of Chamblee goes high-tech to fight crime. Construction starts today on the city's new real-time crime center. Chief Michael Dieppe says they'll have eyes everywhere to monitor key areas.
The technology is a TV wall consisting of 12 55-inch TVs in a command center, 4 dispatch consoles that can be manned by up to 8 dispatch/operators.
The center will be partially paid for by a nearly $1.4 million community public safety grant. He says it'll make it easier to work together with surrounding communities to fight crime. The center is expected to open around Thanksgiving. It is 86 degrees in Atlanta. Storms developing again this afternoon. Meteorologist Christina Edwards has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. We have breaking news just into WSB. The Fulton County Commission voting to move ahead with a plan for the jail. Let's get a live update now from WSB's Veronica Waters.
Yeah, Bill, the Fulton County Commission was considering a plan that would cost $1 billion to build a special purpose mental and medical health facility and one for other needs, and then renovate the Fulton County Jail. But the construction of that first building would take about 5 years, which was meeting with the objection of some of the lawmakers. They're also talking about the plan being more detailed, that they needed to have some year-by-year talks and numbers to really hang this plan on. But the commission a little while ago did vote to approve this planning of an option on the third option on the list that would take care of the future need for the outsourcing of inmates and the renovation at the jail. The facility would be about 3,200 beds, and some of the inmates would be moved around in the interim as construction continued. Again, there was some pushback about how much this actually might balloon in the future, but lawmakers did vote not unanimously, but by a vast majority to move ahead with this plan. We'll bring you more details as we get them. Reporting live, Veronica Waters, 95.5 WSB.
Happening now, SWAT surrounds a home in Mableton where a man is barricaded inside a home. It's located on Vinings Retreat Pass, not far from Highway 78 in Cobb County. Deputies went to the home to serve the suspect a warrant. He was holding someone hostage, but that family member has been released, and there is currently no danger to the public. It is now 2:02. This news is sponsored by Brett Beckers. Up next, live team coverage of traffic and weather.
This is Scott Slade, and nothing takes the place of time when it comes to spotting problems with your health, especially cancer. The earlier the better. That's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual Imaging's LDCT body scan can be invaluable, giving you more time for you and your loved ones to take charge of your health. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. Due to overwhelming demand for a limited time, their $995 core body scan offer has been extended. It's a $2,495 value. Early detection saves lives, and now it's more affordable than ever. Virtual Imaging has gotten such great response to this offer that they've opened up more times in both offices, but appointments will fill up fast, so don't wait. Some minimum requirements may apply. Early detection is your best protection. To schedule your virtual imaging $995 core body scan, call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
Back to school means back to the grind for your family, but it also means back to the grind for your garage door. Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of All Four Seasons Garage and Entry Doors. If your old garage door is getting a failing grade, we can help. Our highly trained technicians will get to the bottom of it. It could be a simple repair, a malfunctioning opener, or maybe just a tune-up. But if it's time for your garage door to be replaced, we'll make that easy with upfront pricing and free estimates. When trust matters, trust us. All the number 4 seasonsgarages.com.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get high quality and low prices. Like you never compromise your meal with our spring salad mix that's guaranteed fresh. And you never compromise your budget with lower prices on over 1,000 items. Hand it to Kroger shoppers. You never compromise. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
Save big on fresh Heritage Farm boneless chicken breasts. They're on sale now for only $2.69 a pound with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Hey homeowners, it's Eric Erickson here. Do your windows and doors stick? Are you noticing cracks in the drywall or the brickwork? You might have a big problem. Serious issues need the serious experts at Engineered Solutions of Georgia. Their skills are unmatched, as are their foundation solutions. When these guys repair a problem, it's the last time you'll have to worry about it. Done once, done right. Start today with a free inspection. Go to ESOGrepair.com. That's ESOGrepair.com.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
It is 2:05 and time for live team coverage of traffic and weather in the 24-hour traffic center. It's Alex Williams.
Hey, good afternoon, Bill. Still watching the brake lights on the west side inner loop. It's been a mess all afternoon. 285 and northbound, the inner loop from South Cobb Drive. The right lanes are very jammed up trying to make your way up to Cobb Parkway and I-75, exit number 20 there in the Smyrna Vinings area. If you're traveling downtown, 75-85 northbound also got some brake lights from Highway 166 up toward Freedom Parkway, with the southbound afternoon delays filling in from the 85-400 merge down through Midtown. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly to mostly cloudy this afternoon, high 89. Scattered rain showers and thunderstorms will be heavy at times for the ride home. Lows tonight in the low 70s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with more pop-up storms, high 90. Cooling down for this weekend with scattered rain showers, highs in the mid-80s on Friday.
87 in Cartersville and in Riverdale. It's 88 in Tucker. More news at 2:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
Hello, America. How are you? I hope you're doing well. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. We got to go into the wide, wild world of campaigns and politics. And to get there, I want to start with some audio from Morning Joe. It was a conversation between Joe Scarborough and Molly Young-Fast, the left-wing commentator, about the data on the Democratic Party. Now, we talked about the data in the Democratic Party, that they are in decline in every state in voter registrations, and Scarborough is asking Molly Young-Fast about this, and just listen to what she has to say. Well, hang on a second. That's, you know what, Erickson, sometimes you got to route your audio. There we go. Here we go. Molly Young-Fast and Joe Scarborough.
You know, breathing into a paper bag. I'm trying to calm down a little bit, but you know, John just quoted a remarkable stat out of the New York Times that in the 30 states where they track voter registration over the past 4 years, Democrats have lost to Republicans in every single state. Why?
So this is the $24 million question, right? Why are Democrats not
why are the polls bad? Why are they not breaking through? And I think it's a couple things. I think one is the people who are breaking through are brave, right? They talk like humans. They make the case, you know. And again, it's like Pritzker's chief of staff told me. It's not necessarily left versus center. It's fight versus cave. And the people who fight get support. And the people who cave or are mealy-mouthed or are, you know, very sort of corporatist-y, that crew, the crew that's afraid, cannot break through, does not appeal to voters. The question is, it's only going to be for people who really feel authentic, right?
Sherrod's never been afraid of a shadow.
Exactly.
He's always spoken his mind.
Chris Murphy, Sherrod Brown, Mondami, these people, AOC, they're not all exactly the same politically, but they are the same in the fact that they're brave and they break through.
You know,
I want you to know something. If you hear a Democratic partisan diagnosing the problems of the Democratic Party and why they are in decline nationwide in voter registration, and they say, well, we need more brave people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, you need to stop listening to that person. And that's not me, Erick Erickson, the partisan of the right, formerly elected Republican, saying this. That's Erick Erickson, the guy who knows how to read the data, saying this. Because nationally, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is one of the least popular politicians in America. Among independents and moderates in particular, the groups the Democrats are losing, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is anathema. Mamdani plays great in socialist areas of the country and urban areas, but scares the bejesus out of the middle class. The people in D.C. care about people like Chris Murphy, who goes on Twitter tirades, but nobody else does. What the Democrats have done is, you know what people say, that the short two-word synopsis of why Donald Trump is in the position he's in is what? It's two words. Y'all know him. He fights. That's what his base has always said. He fights, unlike Romney, unlike McCain, unlike Bush, unlike all these other Republicans. He fights. And if you listen carefully, that's where the Democrats have diagnosed their problem from, is nobody fights, and the people they elevate, they fight. That's why Gavin Newsom is doing his mimicking of Donald Trump online. He fights. But that's not what the data shows is wanted. What the data shows, the problem with Democrats is twofold. Among progressives, it's that nobody fights, and among everybody else, it's that they're too far progressive. So you want the progressives to have the Democrats fight, and you want the moderates and the middle class, the people who you need to vote for you to actually win a majority of the vote, they want people who aren't crazy progressives. That's incompatible with each other. And along comes Elon Musk now. And Musk says, I'm going to fund a third party. And what is Elon Musk's third party going to look like? Elon Musk's third party would look like a fiscally conservative, socially liberal party. And you know what? There's no appetite for that, because that's kind of what the Republicans, to a degree, had been. Oh, yeah, sure, you had the rabid pro-lifers like me and the anti-gay marriage evangelicals like me, but by and large, the Republican leadership in D.C., they promised some level of fiscal responsibility, but they really didn't care what you did otherwise, and that hadn't worked. The Democrats tried it. It hasn't worked. What actually people want, unfortunate for people like me, is they want a fiscally liberal, socially conservative party. And I've long said, actually, that I'm an outlier here, that actually what would work for Hispanic voters and black voters and others is a fiscally liberal, socially conservative party. And Elon Musk wants to do the opposite. Now the Wall Street Journal has this story. The billionaire Elon Musk is quietly pumping the brakes on his plans to start a political party, according to people with knowledge of his plans. Musk has told allies that he wants to focus his attention on his companies and is reluctant to alienate powerful Republicans by starting a third party that could siphon off Republican voters. Musk's posture marks a shift from early last month, when he said he would form what he called the America Party to represent U.S. voters who were unhappy with the two major political parties. As he has considered launching a party, the Tesla chief executive has been focused in part on maintaining ties with J.D. Vance, who is widely considered the potential heir to the MAGA movement. Musk has stayed in touch with Vance in recent weeks, and he has acknowledged to associates that if he goes ahead with forming a political party, he would damage his relationship with the vice president. Musk and his associates have told people close to him that he is considering using some of his vast fiscal resources to back Vance in 2028. Musk spent close to $300 million to support Trump and other Republicans in 2024. Musk allies said he hasn't formally ruled out creating a new party and could change his mind as the midterm elections near. But Musk and his team haven't engaged in what many prominent individuals who have voiced support for the idea of a new party or could be a crucial resource to help it get off the ground, including by assisting with getting on the ballot in crucial states. His associates canceled a late July call with an outside group that specializes in organizing third-party campaigns. Participants were told the meeting was canceled because Musk wanted to focus on running his businesses. I don't know Elon Musk, and I don't know people in the direct orbit of Elon Musk. Well, some, but not great. But, man, I wish I could talk to Elon Musk and just get 5 minutes of his time. Because what I would tell Elon Musk is, number one, there's no appetite for a third party in the United States, and it's actually key to our national stability. When you look at other countries that have a vast array of parties, they tend to have more elections, they tend to have more rollover, they tend to have less economic stability. Third party in this country, there's just no appetite for it. The only thing the Republicans and Democrats hate more than each other is a third party, and they have worked collaboratively across the board in every state to make sure that a third party can't get traction. The only third party that did get traction was Ross Perot's third party, the Reform Party, and the only reason it did is because Ross Perot was not a figurehead of a movement but an actual candidate for president. And Elon Musk can't run for president because he's an immigrant. It would be a waste of his money. Where Elon Musk could be very effective with his money is helping find candidates within both parties, particularly the Republican Party, who support his strategy and his fiscal beliefs of limited government and a robust free market. So what I would tell Elon Musk is, instead of trying to form a third party, why don't you go on and robustly back people like Chip Roy in Texas? Back some of the fiscally conservative House Freedom Caucus guys. Why don't you try to rally people in Georgia against Marjorie Taylor Greene? Find one candidate. What Marjorie has benefited from in Georgia is having 5 or 6 people all jump in against her. Find one candidate, consolidate support for that candidate, and make the case that another conservative could have Trump support and be more effective in Georgia. Why don't you, Elon Musk, get into the Democratic Party in certain areas of this country and back more moderate candidates against the wackadoo progressives, like AIPAC has done quite successfully? Why don't you ally with AIPAC? The odds are, if you find a moderate Democrat who is sympathetic to Israel, you're also going to find a moderate Democrat who is sympathetic to rejecting the far-left socialist positions. Why don't you, Elon Musk, at the state level, get involved in elevating a farm team of candidates within the parties who are reasonable and responsible? Instead of trying to find a third party for which there's no appetite, find good candidates for the existing parties. I may not always agree with who you back, but your resources would be better off there. And frankly, Mr. Musk, your resources would be better off where your gut is telling you right now. Focus on your businesses. You've become a lightning rod for people, and you didn't intend to be. And the left right now needs lightning rods. Where you served a great purpose for the Republican Party, Mr. Musk, is that you served as a lightning rod and distracted people from Donald Trump. People blamed you and not Trump, but that hurt your business. Go focus on your business. You don't need to be the face of a movement. Just back the people who are willing to be faces of a movement you care about. And you don't have to brag about it. You can ignore the media requests. You can fund an outside group with others that help J.D. Vance in 28. Odds are J.D. Vance is the Republican nominee in 2028. I mean, J.D. Vance essentially has to either wreck the economy or decide he doesn't want it to not be the Republican nominee in 28. And even if he wrecks the economy, the odds are it's his. I think the only other real contender out there is Marco Rubio. And I think that Vance, because he's the vice president, is the default presumptive nominee. So go help J.D. Vance, and maybe you can surround him with some people who share your economic vision. But go advance members of Congress. Go, for example, help the Chip Roys in Texas. Go help the Rich McCormicks in Georgia. Go help the Thomas Masseys in Kentucky. Go find you candidates who are fiscally conservative, who believe in free trade, who don't believe in tariffs, who don't believe in subsidy, who are building a Republican Party to outlast Donald Trump. Right now, Donald Trump has the Republican Party in his hands. And there's very little public appetite among Republicans to distance themselves, even on like a lot of Republicans don't actually like tariffs. They're actually hoping that the courts strike down the tariffs, and I think the odds are good the courts do. They don't want to publicly challenge Donald Trump on the issue, but they're going to be around after Donald Trump. Whoever gave Elon Musk the idea of starting a third party probably wanted a lot of money, because the consultants who do this stuff, they get rich and the parties never take off on the ground. But I would just tell Elon Musk that there's a path forward for you to do what you want to do, but it's within the existing parties in the primary process, vetting and finding good candidates to run for office. I think it's the way you go forward. And I would tell Elon Musk there are a lot of people, because you're a billionaire, they want your money. I couldn't care less about your money. I don't need it. I don't want it. Now, I wouldn't mind borrowing your private jet. I got a flight ridiculous strategy coming up. You want to put me on your plane, I'll totally do that. But I don't even really need that. Delta is fine. It goes where I need to go. All I'm saying, Elon Musk, is you get surrounded, because you're a billionaire and you're allied on the Republican Party side, with a bunch of grifters who sound like they know what they're doing, and they don't necessarily actually implement the plans they say they can implement, because they're in it for the money in the beach house. What I would tell you to do is to go the route that Jim DeMint did long ago with the Senate Conservatives Fund. Find like-minded people that you can elevate in the primary process and get people to rally around, who aren't going to necessarily break up the party, but actually will be committed to fiscal coherency, because that is your issue. Based on my understanding of all these things, is your issue is the size and scope of the federal government. And so there are lots of people who could win in the Republican primary who would care about that issue, who will outlast the age of Donald Trump, who will redefine and reassert the power of those in the process of the Republican Party who want to limit government. And if that's what you want, you don't need a new party. You just need to assert a quiet takeover at the primary level of the Republican Party.
Follow Eric on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Search EW Erickson.
221 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Crash downtown, 7585 southbound approaching Cortlandt Street. Right now it's on the left shoulder, but it's adding some brake lights out of Midtown from 17th Street. Still watching the slow traffic, 285 northbound, the inner loop on the west side from South Cobb Drive up into Vinings as you approach Cobb Parkway. Traffic brought to you by Blindster.com. Blindster.com is a family business making custom blinds, shades, and shutters. Give them a try and see why over 1 million windows have trusted Blindster. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
If it's happening on the streets of Atlanta.
After suspect refuses to exit home on Summer Chase Drive.
If it's happening on the roads leading to Atlanta.
Looks to be a tanker truck crashed into the median on the jam cam.
95.5 WSB has you covered.
The major culprits squeezing household budgets for auto insurance, gasoline, and utilities.
Your 24/7 news source. Tune in throughout the day to stay up to date.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's breaking news station.
Our research shows the #1 fear for retirees: uncontrollable economic and market swings. And after the last 5 years, that's totally understandable. But here's the good news. Happy retirees are twice as likely versus unhappy to have a financial plan. A plan can calm those worries. My team at Capital Investment Advisors would love to help your family build a plan you can feel confident about. Just pick a time that works for you at yourwealth.com. That's YOURwealth.com.
Hey homeowners, it's Eric Erickson here. Do your windows and doors stick? Are you noticing cracks in the drywall or the brickwork? You might have a big problem Serious issues need the serious experts at Engineered Solutions of Georgia. Their skills are unmatched, as are their foundation solutions. When these guys repair a problem, it's the last time you'll have to worry about it. Done once, done right. Start today with a free inspection. Go to ESOGrepair.com. That's ESOGrepair.com.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
Got a leaky pipe? Trouble with your AC? Ace Hardware Home Services is right around the corner with trusted pros to fix it. From plumbing to heating and cooling, we'll keep your home running smoothly all year long. Get help today at acehardwarehomeservices.com.
Two similar homes for sale, same neighborhood, but the one with the Orchard sign sold for more. Why? Well, Orchard's local agents know what buyers want, make smart upgrades, and handle it all. Get your free home valuation at orchard.com.
Every piece of jewelry has a story, and at A1 Gold Buyers, we honor that story with care and respect. When you're ready to sell, we'll offer a fair appraisal and instant payment for your gold, silver, and luxury watches. As a family-owned business, we pride ourselves on creating a welcoming, trustworthy experience at our convenient, upscale location, 5779 State Bridge Road in Johns Creek, right next to Pike Nursery. A1GoldBuyers.com. A1 Gold Buyers, where you get great service and great prices.
Summer was fun, but now it's time to reset and refresh your home for fall with Zerorez carpet and air duct cleaning. Right now, get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $139. And we'll throw in a free hallway cleaning. Just mention WSB Radio. That's a whole lot of clean for a great price. Book your appointment today at ZeroResAtlanta.com and mention WSB Radio. That's ZeroResAtlanta.com. Zerorez, it's the right way to clean.
Attention men, does ED and PE have you down? Well, great news. Choice Men's Health has the latest breakthrough treatments that can get you up and running. Meet the specialist who is dedicated to helping you perform better than ever in the bedroom.
Hi, I'm Dr. Katz, Chief Medical Director at Choice Men's Health. Our custom treatment plans have a 98% success rate at improving ED and PE on your very first visit, even if Viagra and Cialis have failed. Regardless of your age and medical history, we are here and dedicated to help you regain your love life.
Don't wait. Call Choice Men's Health now. We are so confident we can help. For a limited time, we're offering to cover your first treatment for free. Call 404-400-1170. Call now to claim your free treatment. 404-400-1170. Results guaranteed on your first visit or it's free. 404-400-1170. Choice Men's Health, the only choice for your health.
If you've ever organized your closet only to have it look like a bomb went off in there 1 month later, then it's time to call Artisan Custom Closets. Reach-in closets, walk-in closets, pantry spaces, garages. With a custom spacious closet from Artisan, you'll never have to deal with all that clutter again. All your stuff neatly organized and designed to stay that way. Call the Closet Bomb Squad, Artisan Custom Closets. They'll diffuse your clutter and make it safe to enter your closet again. ArtisanCustomClosets.com.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Want to be on the show? Come on, be on the show. Call Eric now at 877-973-7425.
Greetings, welcome. I will take your phone calls here when we get back. A little bit of a short segment, 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I'm going to pull up my phone right here. Let's see here. Do you have 5 minutes to chat about my political campaign? That's one text. Here's another one. Interesting. Yep. Political. Yeah, I've got lots of these. I'm running the new Apple operating system. It's in beta right now. And there's a little filter. And if you don't know who the person is, it goes into a separate little bucket of messages. And you can check it if you want, but you don't have to. And all my political messages are going in there. And both the Democratic and National Republican political committees are screaming that Apple is suddenly going to get rid of political spam that's coming to you in text message. And I don't know if you know this or not, but I don't care. I think that both parties, particularly the Republican Party, have done so poorly at stewarding good relationships with their voters over political spam. I get political spam on a daily basis in text message. I've stopped giving money to political candidates, including friends of mine. I won't give money anymore because I think the Win Red platform is abusive when it comes to text messaging. I flat out will not. In fact, I finally was able to find a point of contact with the Senate and said, can you please delete my phone number from your text messaging program because I'm tired of it. And I was able to do that, but you can't. I know I'm special in that regard because I knew who to ask. But the political committees of the parties are screaming mad over Apple. I say God bless them. I say God bless them. And the more political spam, what's terrible is when some Sears in Virginia, a buddy of mine was complaining about it. I looked at my spam folder today in email. My gosh, that woman's campaign sends a lot of spam every day, even to me, and I don't even live in Virginia. I'm tired of the political spam. Thank you, Apple. Now, Vision Computer can help you deal with the spam in your email account. They can help you deal with all your tech support issues. All you have to do is call them at 404-COMPUTER. Go to visioncomputers.com. They can build you a computer. They can maintain your computer. They can be your tech support. They can help you with email problems, printer problems, you name it. 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com. Vision Computers can build you a great machine, and they can also manage it with IT, where you get a phone number. And you call the phone number and you get someone on the phone in 15 seconds or less. You do not have to send an email ticket. You actually call the phone number and talk to a live human being, not an AI chatbot, and they take care of you. All you have to do is call them at 404-COMPUTE. If you tell them Eric sent you, you're going to save even more money. Here's the thing. If you've got managed IT for your office right now and you're doing the email claims tickets when you got a problem, you call Vision at 404-COMPUTE, and they can actually set you up with live human operators that your employees talk to, decrease your downtime, increase your productivity, and save you money too. 404-COMPUTE.
WSB's looking for a home for Smidgen. Chris Chandler here from Atlanta's Morning News, and she is our dog of the month. With Paws Atlanta, we're looking for Smidgen's new family. Sweet brown and white mixed breed, about 2, great for older kids. Meet her at WSBRadio.com. Our sponsor, Findlay Roofing, will pay the adoption fee for you, too. WSBRadio.com/dog.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2:30, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. The Fulton County Commission voting today to move forward with a plan to fix the infamously dangerous county jail. The city of Chamblee just months away from opening a new real-time crime center. Police Chief Michael Dieppe says it uses technology to track crime.
Which are 10-tilt zoom cameras and license plate readers that we've strategically placed around the city of Chamblee that will help and aid us in crime fighting and criminal investigation.
Construction on the center starts today. It should open around Thanksgiving. Target's CEO is stepping down.
Some say it was because of consumer boycotts over Target's scaling back of inclusion initiatives. Some say it was because Target never really recovered in the new retail landscape after the pandemic. And still others say it was because of customers defecting to lower-priced Walmart or Amazon. Whichever, Target's net income dropped 21% in the quarter that ended August 2nd.
Sherry Preston reports CEO Brian Cornell is out and the chief operating officer is the new boss. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is calling out the American Academy of Pediatrics for going against the Atlanta-based CDC for recommending COVID vaccines for all kids ages 6 through 23 months. Kennedy claims the group's recommendations were corporate-friendly because the Academy receives donations from vaccine companies like Pfizer and Moderna. You may see more Truist Bank branches popping up around Metro Atlanta. Bloomberg reports Truist is planning to open 100 new branches and renovate more than 300 existing ones in several cities, including Atlanta, over the next 5 years. It's now 2:32. This news sponsored by FGA Roofing.
Motorcycle riders know that a distracted driver can knock you down. It's nice to know that Steel Horse Law can pick you back up. Hey, it's Eric Von Hessler for Steel Horse Law, the Stein and Karen Law Group. In the worst possible scenario, when someone causes you to lay your bike down, Steel Horse Law will get you the best possible settlement. Their name strikes fear in the heart of big insurance companies because Steel Horse Law is respected and will make them pay. Visit steelhorselaw.com.
This is Andy Harris, president of Coosa Valley Credit Union, inviting you to come see us for your auto loan needs. If you're buying a car or refinancing your current auto loan, at Coosa Valley Credit Union, you'll get one of the lowest interest rates in the market, as low as 3.49 APR when you open an account with a direct deposit. Coosa Valley Credit Union is local and nearby in Northwest Georgia. Plus, you'll always speak to a real person when dealing with us. That's what we call kinder banking.
Contact 706-235-8551 for more details. Equal Opportunity Lender.
Beaver Direct Certified, providing the highest quality vehicles at the very best prices. Every vehicle undergoes rigorous reconditioning with the industry-leading 12-month, 12,000-mile certified warranty. Visit us at beavertoyotacumming.com and see why everyone loves Beaver Direct.
Georgia Power is here for you with quick tips to help you save on your bill this summer. Change your HVAC filter and check vents for flow. Set your thermostat at 78 for max efficiency, but every degree closer helps. Because summer savings mean more to spend on what really matters. Visit georgiapower.com for more energy-saving tips.
Hey, business owners, do you have managed IT services where it's somebody else, not a full-time in-house on the payroll guy managing your computers? You should check with Vision Computers for managed IT services. At least get a quote from them. Call them at 404-COMPUTE. Tell them I sent you. You could save a lot of money, and your employee productivity could go up. Why? Because instead of creating a ticket every time something breaks, they can talk to a real person. So a lot of studies are out there. Y'all know them. Employees don't like to create IT tickets. They kind of feel dumb when they have to. Instead, they can get on the phone in 15 seconds or less, get the answer to what's going on. It's shockingly low compared to what you're probably paying right now, and it's 15 seconds or less on the phone. It's the biggest no-brainer in business tech support. Vision Computers. Call them at 404-COMPUTE. Tell them Eric sent you. At least talk to them. What do you have to lose? Get a quote from Vision Computers for their managed IT support. Call them at 404-COMPUTE nationwide.
At 2:34, Alex Williams in the traffic center.
Hey, Bill, all lanes just blocked and reopened downtown. Here, a unit escorted a crash from the left shoulder to the right shoulder, 75-85 southbound at Cortlandt Street, exit 249A. You're still seeing the brake lights, though, back toward the 85-400 merge. Jammed up on the west side inner loop. The delays continue. 285 northbound from South Cobb Drive up to the Cobb Parkway area, exit number 19, and a crash in the left lane of the 400 southbound ramp to 285 eastbound, the inner loop in Dunwoody. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
All quiet on storm tracker radar so far, but we'll be watching for those scattered showers to pop up this afternoon. 85 in Snellville, 87 in Villa Rica, 86 in Hampton. More news at 3 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
With clarity.
Hello, America. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. If you want to be on the program, let me go next to Mark. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
Hi, Eric. Thanks for always speaking your mind on your show. I did some reading yesterday from like a few think tanks and other news sources, and I found something interesting. So apparently, in the last 1,000 days, Russia has gained less than 1% of Ukrainian land.
Mm-hmm.
So I did like a rough kind of, calculation. So by current rates, it seems that if they would want to take the Donbass region, it would require them something like 4 years and probably another 500,000 dead and wounded. So I don't know. I was just thinking that maybe it makes sense to just kind of push Russia to agree on the current line of contact rather than just kind of gifting them this territory, which they will have great difficulty getting. And why do you think the news is not reporting like on this more nuanced aspects of the war?
Okay, let me start with the last one. Why do I think the media is not reporting on it? I actually know the reason the media is not reporting on it, having talked to a number of them, is because in their mind, the situation changes every day on who controls what. There's a push forward, a push back constantly, and they've kind of gotten out of the who controls what territory because it changes so much. And also, they're not necessarily convinced of the honesty of either side in claiming territorial control. However, they acknowledge that at the end of the day, the Russians have not actually been able to make the gains the Russians claimed they were going to be able to make. The Ukrainians have been able to hold the Russians, and in fact, the Russians made a big advance a week ago, and were able to capture more territory, and they've now been pushed back from where they had captured territory. So it really is a stalemate. But in the process, Vladimir Putin is killing Ukrainians and also letting Russian criminals who he sent to the front lines die, so he's okay with it. But the Ukrainians, remember, the Russians thought they could win this thing within 5 days. Once they captured Kyiv, they would be able to do it. They remember they parachuted people into the airport in Kyiv, and the Ukrainians killed all the Russians. And they tried to go down the river from Belarus to Kyiv, and they lost that too. They haven't been able to do what they thought they were going to be able to do. The Ukrainians have been holding their own. There's something about people fighting for their homeland that matters. Now, I want to turn my attention to something domestic. There are lots of conversations out there right now about the housing crisis in this country. And undeniably, one of the big issues related to the housing crisis is mortgages, mortgage rates, how expensive it is, and how people who have very low mortgages don't now want to sell, because if they did that, they would have to pay a higher mortgage elsewhere. More than 40 months, this is from Carlisle, more than 40 months after the Fed first hiked rates, the cost of financing a home purchase remains 250 basis points, or 2.5%, above the average rate paid on the outstanding stock of U.S. mortgages. In real estate terms, existing owners apply a 4.1% cap rate to the imputed rent of their property, while prospective buyers face 6.58% financing costs. The resulting bid-ask spread explains the collapse in home sales volumes. For sale inventories have risen, but remain quite low relative to the total housing stock. In many cases, households' most valuable asset is a 30-year liability with a rate fixed at 2.75%. Now, in translating the gobbledygook into English, it is a lot of people are sitting on very low mortgages. If they were to sell their home and get a new house themselves, they would be paying a much higher mortgage and would ultimately be losing money in the transaction. There are, however, a lot of houses out there, but nobody wants them. So I live in Macon, Georgia. Macon, Georgia is actually, here's your random fact about Macon, Georgia. It's on the Ocmulgee River, and it is where the very first baptism in North America was conducted. Hernando de Soto came through and was baptizing the Indians, converting them to Christianity, and made the first baptism on the Ocmulgee River just south of Macon, Georgia. It is the geographic center of the state of Georgia. I was on city council there. Worst job of my life. It's a part-time job and you're full-time, and people complain when their trash doesn't get picked up because they're too lazy to roll their trash can, and I hated it. Problem with elected office is there's a thing called a constituent, and a constituent is a voter, and a voter is a person, and people are stupid. But I digress. In Macon, Georgia, there is an area of the city called Village Green. What a great name, isn't it? Village Green. In the middle of Village Green, the roads wrap around this little park-like setting. Village Green is somewhere the cops don't even go in the daytime. You cannot go 24 hours in Village Green without there being a shooting. When I was on city council, they had a plan to bring civilization to Village Green by having police officers take over some of the houses in the area. The city would fix up the abandoned houses, move in the police officers. The police officers could live there. Not a single police officer was willing to move their family into Village Green. That's how bad Village Green is. They were being offered free housing that the city itself would fix up, and no one wanted to live in Village Green. The very bottom part of Village Green, Mint Green Lane, is basically trailers. And then you have little bitty houses, shotgun-style houses, among other things in Village Green. The actual Village Green Park is a basically plot of dead grass. It's not a safe neighborhood. That whole area down there, nobody wants to live in that area. It is simply not a safe neighborhood. And you know what? In that whole area, it expands into a neighborhood called Bloomfield. There are a whole lot of abandoned houses. People have rented out the houses. Their parents died. They had moved out. They rented the houses. The houses fallen apart. Many of the houses need repair and upgrades, and nobody has replaced them. Nobody's fixed them up. It's not a safe area. Nobody wants to live there. Think about your community. Think about all the small houses that could serve as starter homes for young couples that are in bad neighborhoods, that are abandoned. I'm willing to bet there are a whole lot of small starter homes out there that could be fixed up and sold. But what does it take first? It takes crime control. You got to oust the gangs. You got to oust the illegal alien gangbangers who have taken over the neighborhoods. You've got to get rid of the drug lords from the neighborhoods. Our housing crisis in this country isn't just a housing crisis, it's a crime crisis. There are neighborhoods people don't live in. Now, there are some neighborhoods that are gentrifying. I am right now broadcasting in Atlanta. Every one of you has a story. I saw, those of you out at KSTE out in Sacramento, I saw a story out in your newspaper last week on gentrifying black neighborhoods and Hispanic neighborhoods where some upper income white tech kids are buying houses and the housing prices are going up, the property values are going up, and people are having to move out. It's a problem all over the country in urban areas where the young white liberals are moving in. They want to be in the black neighborhoods that are close to their offices because, God forbid, they commute. It's bad for the environment. They're buying houses. They're fixing them up. They're crime-ridden neighborhoods, but as more white kids move in, the crime goes down as the gangbangers can't even afford to live in the houses they're squatting in. They're being pushed out. But then the property values start going up, and the longtime black and Hispanic residents of the neighborhoods get pushed out because they can't afford it. There are a number of neighborhoods in Atlanta where historically black neighborhoods have become very white, and the historic black families that have lived there for 50, 60, 70 years are being driven out because the home prices are going up so much they can't afford the property taxes. But also, if we're honest about it, the property tax values are going up, the property tax base is expanding, and crime is going down in the neighborhoods. It's a complicated situation, but the bottom line is this. In Washington, D.C., Donald Trump has decided to crack down on crime. The majority, even though the majority of the nationalized police force and the National Guard and the park rangers, law enforcement rangers for the park are in areas of the tourists, the majority of the arrests are happening in the crime-ridden neighborhoods. Polling shows in a city where 95% of people voted for Kamala Harris that 90% of them were upset with Donald Trump doing this. Ironically, you look at the deep dive in the polling, disproportionately white people, comfortable existence living white people are way more upset with Donald Trump doing what he's doing than the black families who are now safe. You want to expand housing in this country, it's just not a mortgage issue, and it's not a we need to build more houses issue. It's a we need to take back the neighborhoods that are crime infested with a lot of abandoned houses, force people to fix up those houses and put them on the market. A lot of those neighborhoods are starter house size houses. Where I live in Middle Georgia, home prices in my old neighborhood are about $100,000 to $150,000 more than where they were. And they were starter homes built in the 50s, but it's a good neighborhood. Not a lot of crime. There's a great public school, elementary school. But then you get down to the neighborhood like Bloomfield and Village Green. There are a lot of available houses down there, but nobody wants to live in the neighborhoods because law enforcement doesn't even go down there. You get rid of the gangs, you get rid of the drug dealers, you get rid of the crime. Suddenly you're taking a neighborhood with a lot of available housing and you're putting it on the market and making it attractive for people to want to live there because they know it's safe. One of the weird problems in our society right now, and one of the weird bits of thinking on the left, is that you, as an urban dweller, should not be safe from crime. They don't like to put it that way. The way they put it is that crime is just an incident of the city. You should expect crime and homelessness in the city. I would like to tell you that that is demented thinking. You should not have to expect to walk over a pile of human feces when you're walking down the sidewalk in a city. That is the left deciding decline is a choice. They have decided to decline. That is the left failing you. That is progressive politics failing you. I would like to say a nice word about the mayor of Atlanta. We had a terrible mayor in Atlanta for a while, Keisha Crimewave. Keisha Crimeway Bottoms fought the political establishment of Atlanta, and I had a lot of high hopes for Keisha Crimeway Bottoms. She fought the longtime political establishment in Atlanta, Georgia. A lot of them did not care for her. They challenged her, and she beat them. She beat the establishment. She beat all of them. And I thought, this is good. Atlanta's thinking outside the box. And she had a hard time getting the political establishment to align behind her when she won. And then when the George Floyd riots broke out, instead of standing with the police, she stood with the rioters. She stood with the criminals. She played it wrong. She tried to consolidate black support behind her by alienating the police and business community, which started a secession movement from the city of Buckhead, the financial center of the city. And she decided ultimately not to run for re-election. She knew she couldn't get reelected. Now she wants to be governor of Georgia, which is wild. What arrogance. But the new guy came in, Andre Dickens. He's the 61st mayor of Atlanta. He actually consolidated political support among the establishment. He got the business leaders involved and the black community involved. He's black. And you know what he did? He turned the police loose. He knew that Atlanta couldn't afford to lose Buckhead, the financial center of the city. Where Keisha Crimeway Bottoms had destroyed relationships with the Republican leaders of the state, he rebuilt those. Where Keisha Crimeway Bottoms outlawed aggressive law enforcement of the city, he said, go do your jobs, police. Crime's gone down in Atlanta. Crime hasn't just gone down in the wealthy white neighborhoods. Crime's gone down in the black neighborhoods, too. And you know what has happened? Developers have come into those black neighborhoods and taken abandoned houses and started fixing them up. And those houses are coming on the market for sale. Affordable housing without the city intervening. You know what the city of Atlanta did? They fought crime. It's not perfect. There's still crime. There's still parts of the city that aren't safe to go to. But they decided to let the police, and crime went down. And areas of the city started expanding housing options for people, not with the city building subsidized housing, but with the city making neighborhoods safe enough for developers to go in and buy houses and rebuild those houses and then sell them to young couples. And yes, some neighborhoods are gentrifying. And you know what's happening? Yes, some non-white poor families are being priced out of neighborhoods they've historically lived in. But you know what's happening? The property tax base is growing, revenue's coming into the city, and the city's now able to build up and hire more police, build up and fix infrastructure. It's a virtuous loop. Contrast that to some of these other cities with progressives in charge where they're like, screw the business community. Who cares about the white people? We don't need them. We don't want them. They've turned into third world hellholes, and they scream racism. They scream racism. When everybody points at them, they say, well, you don't like us because we're black. No, I love the mayor of Atlanta, Georgia. Never met the guy. He's done a remarkable job. He's a black mayor who figured out it takes everybody in the city for the city to survive. What a lot of progressives have done is they've said, we can exclude these groups of people. We just want their money, not them. You want to solve the housing crisis in the country? You make your city safe. You go into the neighborhoods where there are available houses. Many times they're gang infested, and you drive out the gangs. You arrest people. You get rid of the drug dealers. Suddenly there's a lot of housing that's available in safe neighborhoods to rebuild. Donald Trump in Washington, D.C. is showing the way. He's making neighborhoods that have been crime-infested suddenly safe. The rest of the country could take a clue from what the president has done in D.C. and what good mayors are doing in cities from Miami to Atlanta, some Republican mayors, some Democratic mayors, and all of them recognizing we got to have a safe community that people want to live in, and that's going to help us. And it does. Old Glory Bank wants to help you and your kids get smart about finances. If you go to oldglorybank.com/smart, they've got new resources you can use in homeschool curriculums and the like to help your kids get smart about spending and budgeting and saving money and investing. oldglorybank.com/smart. It's also a great bank to get a custodial account for your kid. No fee checking, no fee savings, so your kid can start depositing and saving money. oldglorybank.com/smart. That's where the free resources are. You get those free resources. You have great conversation starters for your kids. You've got great conversation starters for your whole family. You got a great homeschool curriculum to teach your kids finances and budgeting and savings. It's completely free, too. It is a free resource from Old Glory Bank. oldglorybank.com/smart. oldglorybank.com/smart. And you know what? You learn a little bit about Old Glory Bank as well. They are my bank. I've got a checking and a savings account with them. But if you go to oldglorybank.com/smart, they're not selling you their bank. They're selling you, they're not even selling you. They're giving you free resources for your kids to get smarter about finances. oldglorybank.com/smart. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, terms and conditions apply.
You're at the intersection of politics, news, culture, and current events. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
252 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Brake lights filling in into downtown for the afternoon commute. You slow southbound from the 85-400 merge down to Cortlandt Street where crashes off to the right. Northbound delays from University Avenue up to Peachtree Pine Street. Crash still working on the 400 southbound ramp to 285 eastbound. The inner loop, that is blocking the end of that ramp, just to right shoulder open there. So heads up for that out of Sandy Springs into Dunwoody. Traffic brought to you by True Natural Gas. Bigfoot probably isn't true. He certainly isn't local. To see something both local and true, visit TrueNaturalGas.com. They're a local company with honest pricing and truly low rates. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Where you going is a given. How you're getting there?
Well, that's the question.
We will start to see some delays if they shut that ramp down on 285 East.
Before you hit the navigation
You're going to be slowing right around Hudson Bridge Road.
Listen to the people you can trust.
And really slow out of Ackworth into Emerson.
Updated traffic as often as you need it every time you listen.
We had a lot going on this morning through Henry County.
More experience, more reliable, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, triple team traffic.
95.5 WSB. How Atlanta gets there.
Joel, it's Eric. I know some of you are concerned about tariff prices impacting things in your lives, including kitchen remodels. Well, listen to this. You can book an appointment this month with Frugal Kitchens and get the Frugal Price Lock. They will lock you into pre-tariff prices. All you got to do is Google Frugal Kitchens for details, and they're offering 0% financing. You want your kitchen remodeled. You want to add value to your home. You're worried about tariffs. Here's your opportunity. Google Frugal Kitchens. Start that kitchen redesign today.
Hi, it's Sue from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. Over the past 30 years, we've seen countless lives change for the better and health issues greatly improved, if not completely resolved, by customers changing their diets, starting with real bread. At the Bread Beckers store in Woodstock, we can teach you how to make real, delicious bread loaded with fiber and nutrients from real whole grains. A healthy, affordable solution for your family that can change your lives. For various customers, we've seen cholesterol levels drop 85 to 100 points in just 1 month, blood sugar stabilize, anemia corrected, and hundreds of stories of warts going away. In one case, as many as 500 warts gone in just 2.5 weeks. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've studied the incredible health benefits of whole grains and real bread. Let us help you take the first steps to better health. Visit breadbeckers.com or our Bread Beckers store in Woodstock.
It's the hardest working part of your home, your garage door. When it fails, you need someone you can trust. Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of All Four Seasons Garage, Entry Doors, and Windows. When the largest and most important opening of your home breaks, don't hire a schmo. Call the local name you know, All Four Seasons. Ask your neighbors. We offer upfront pricing, free estimates on all major brands, and 24/7 service. When trust matters, trust us. All the number 4 seasonsgarages.com.
Serving my country required sacrifice. Sacrifice that changed my life forever. I remember the day I came home. Because of my injuries, this house wasn't right for me anymore. I remember the narrow doorways, the small bathrooms, the shelves out of reach when in my wheelchair. Every day was full of obstacles. I felt trapped. I remember a better day, the day my family received a specially adapted custom home from Homes for Our Troops. That day changed everything. Now we have a safe and accessible home to enjoy the freedom I fought for. This place, our home, is exactly what we needed to rebuild our lives.
Homes for Our Troops builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post 9/11 veterans and enables them to rebuild their lives. Join our mission at hfotusa.org.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Get the podcast, live stream, email, and social media links by texting Eric to 33777 now.
Hello, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. My apologies to those of you on the phones. I've got a minute here, so I don't have time for phones. But I do have time for this story. It hit the wires during commercial break. Another federal judge has denied a request to unseal grand jury transcripts and exhibits from the Jeffrey Epstein investigation, which was always going to happen because, so here's the thing, a grand jury asks a lot of probing questions. They're trying to build a case. Not everything is admissible in court that is asked by the grand jury. And so if you mention Joe Blow and involved in Epstein, you could destroy his life, even though it's very clear from everything that that person had nothing to do with Epstein. But because the name came up in the investigation, you could destroy the guy's career. And that's why grand jury information stays sealed. It's why it doesn't get, so it was always obvious that this was going to happen. And that also means Congress is not going to get the information from the grand jury. There is a separation of powers issue at stake here. It was just kind of obvious that this was always going to be the way it went. We're never going to get all the answers people want. All right, I am out of time. Tomorrow, well, there is a story hitting the wires right now about a massive new ammunition depot that the federal government's going to make. You should at least get the 4 things to know this afternoon because I'm sure I'll have a blurb in it.
He's the guy at the desk next to you.
Why do you always go after the game show host of The Price is
He's
Right?
your co-pilot for the ride home.
Don't tell me how to handle my life.
Eric Von Haessler.
Or anyone else.
Today at 3.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's